Well, I see that it is hot out there. Woo! It be hot. Drinking hot coffee with lime come on, on a hot day. Are you crazy? Maybe. Let's do this. Well, you just never know what you're going to hear, right, Carrie? I mean, wow. He just did a concert not too long ago, a few days back, final Black Sabbath concert. And, his daughter got engaged behind stage, I guess before or after the show. I didn't really pay that much attention, although I know a lot of people were reporting on that. I did not know. Ozzy's actually been in my mind of late because of that last concert. Uh, Passed away at age 76. I know he had Parkinson's really bad, or at least that's what somebody told me. Uh, of course, the Osbournes were on TV and stuff like that. Uh, was that guy from Slipknot? I think. Yeah, Kelly got engaged to Sid. Sid, yeah. See, I don't know at least, and he was like, "Nah, you're not getting, to be nice about it. No, you're not marrying my daughter, But yeah, the fix was in. Hell, I'll be there in a few minutes. Rex, you're muted. I'm muted. No, I'm not muted. Hello. I mean, he couldn't really hold the mic at that last gig. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really watch it, or did they stream that? Was that a paid streaming thing? We will have Roland Mann, I think. Let me double check here. He will be a little bit later coming in. Uh, but regardless, we will talk about his stuff, amongst other things. Let me just check on Facebook and see if he had a moment to get back with me. I did talk with Mike Gustovich a little bit, and he will be our next guest on RexX and Apex, like I said. And I was just kind of shooting the breeze. So, Mike, if you're out there listening to the broadcast, like and subscribe. I see he's still okay. Roland left me a couple of them. Oh, crap. Now, let's see. Okay, I'm backstage when you're ready. Okay, crap. Now it seems I'm early. Laugh out loud. It's 4:30 my time. Laugh out loud. Dang it. Okay, we'll be back when the time is right. Okay, it is time. Okay, so he'll be in here. Just so he was in here, and then he's running a bit late. I'm able to make it, so I don't give up on me. Yeah, yeah. Well, you were early, sir. You were early. Roland Man will be in here. RJ in the house. RJ William. Hell. Yes, call sign Orion. I backed it. Maybe you could consider backing it as well. Uh, Orion get to $700. Exactly right. Yeah. Great Doc Blaylock cover over there. Although I did not buy Doc's cover, uh, unfortunately, this time. You can invite Sean McBee as a guest. He created Westron. He's a new creator who's a great book, perfect for the all horror thriller fans. Okay, I think he's doing a Kickstarter, isn't he? Got no sound on my mic on my end. Can you hear me, Rex? Carrie, Carrie? You can hear me, right? I mean, I'm not muted here. I think it must be on his device. RJ, you can hear me, right? I'm not muted. You can hear me. I guess I got to restart my phone. Be right back. Okay. I can hear him, Shadowhawk. Okay. All right. Good. I thought so. All right. Start it all over. Take two. It'd be hot out there, sweltering. I have the night off. They're going to be aerial spraying all the cities today. Okay. Is on Indiegogo? Okay. He's one of the links I sent you on. Okay. Um, I'll have some time tonight. I'm supposed to get with Tank Ferret, hopefully, and have a meeting with him later tonight. It's unusual that I have a night off. Let's see. Tonight's Tuesday. So I guess, if they send me the link, which they usually have been sending me the link, if they have space and deem me worthy, I'll be on topic list. I'll try and be. I did sell on eBay and we'll be wrapping up and sending it out tomorrow. A test cover. Well, what's a test cover? There we go. Red Wolf. Nice cover. I couldn't tell you who did the cover actually on this one. This test cover is untrimmed and has the ads. So if I lift this up and show you the back, it's going to be printed on, and on the inside, it's got the ads. That's a test cover or approval cover. Some people call it untrimmed approval cover, but test cover, I don't know, something they pull for at the time of the manufacturing of the book. That's an old 20 center, so that's early 70s before I even started. Where's Dave? Well, I mean, we got Roland Mann coming on today. I imagine he's in England. I'm not sending him the link because we've got Roland Mann coming on, at some point. What is this? Comics and other content too. And I've got an N on the end of the title. Should I be gracious and just send him the link? I'm sure he could hang out with Roland. Might as well afford him the opportunity. Thank you, Carrie, for reminding me. It is Tuesday, and usually we have Texas Dave on Facebook. He might have some questions. Whoops. Wait a minute. I'll send that link again to Roland Mann. He had a repair person. Something like that come over. I said hi to Don Chin. He said hi back. Whatever. I did report that guy that was using my friend's name, Keith Gleason. I noticed got back with me. I haven't read his thing yet over on Facebook. Hero Shack Press got back with me too, saying laugh out loud, I guess it's laugh out loud, right? Or lots of love, Rex. What's up? Trying to get them on the show. Who am I looking for? Texas Dave. Yeah. I've been contacting a lot of people lately, so he may be down on the list. I get okay. Just search Dave Houston. There we go. That's a quick way to do. Just do a search instead of looking. There we go. Now he has the StreamYard link. Rex did its job. Took forever, but he did it. Love Roland. Great guest. Thank you. And we will have on Mr. and Mrs. Good Stuff tomorrow. Let me check out that link on Instagram that you sent me. We'll just take a look at that right now. How about that? I've got two things here for Roland Mann. He's got actually a Silverline Comics has a storefront over on Fund My Comic. We'll be taking a look at that. We'll be taking a look at his other project, Silverline Team Up 1 and 2, which is doing very well over there. $1,711, 43 backers. And we'll be taking a look at its new project, The Rejects 1 and 2. Let's see. Where are you, Carrie? I know you're out in the chat. That's, there you are. So many people. So many faces. Oh, Westron. Okay. I think this is a link, right? If I click on it. Well, it goes to his Facebook. Let's see. Let's click on the link. There we go. Thank you, Carrie, for sending that to me. You get so many tabs up here. It gets confusing. It's a Shadowhawk. If you can hear me, it says device not connected. So, wait a minute. Now, there we go. At very first, your thing says device not connected, but the LZ's the same way other people are. And then it lets you come on. It's like YouTube is trying to catch up. What the hell? It'd be hot out there, my friend.
Oh, man, it's going to be hotter tomorrow.
I don't have to tell you that. It's hot. So.
It's supposed to be like 105, 110 here tomorrow.
Woo, yeah, I know. We got a heat index of like 107 now. Of course, earlier in the year, it was like heat index of 115. I think, it's going to be climbing. And welcome to the show, Roland, the man.
What's up,
the man, the myth, the legend. He's number one because he's got the foam finger to prove it.
No, that's right,
What's going on? Woo! Arkansas.
How am I coming through? Like my internet. My internet seems very terrible today. Do I sound all bad? Or?
No, you sound great. And looking marvelous, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Roland, what's going on in your life? You got a repair guy over there at your house stealing all your comics?
Yeah. No, he didn't come inside the house.
He didn't come inside the house. I wouldn't let him.
No, he only got to see the car. So
yeah,
driveway was
hot.
As far as he went.
It'd be hot where you're at, Roland.
Man, it is hot. Although I will say today's been a little cooler because it's rained a bunch.
Yeah.
So
that just makes it steamy and humidity.
Computer, what's the temperature? Yeah, it's 83 right now.
Whew. Well,
that's not bad.
No, not too bad at all. Considering when it's been up in the 90s.
My car was showing 92 when I got home today. When I got out.
Hey, what's up, Eric? What's up, Carrie?
Don't you think sitting out in the sun, though, that temperature gauge probably gets a little harder, on reporting?
That was after I drove all the way home, right? So it should have been cooled down by the air and all that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it'd be hot out there. I know.
Yeah.
And my drink of choice today is blueberry lemonade. Weiler's Light blueberry lemonade. So, so cold, so refreshing.
What's the verdict? Is it pretty? Is it?
It's pretty good. Yeah. If you like blueberry, now you're not a big blueberry fan, I know.
No, I like.
What's
blueberry.
That you're drinking?
I've got milk.
You got milk. Got milk? Yes, Roland has milk. Looks like I've had milk, but that's just my beard and mustache color.
Well,
I
started the carnivore diet here several months ago. And,
did you?
Okay.
Yeah, and so you can eat. You can eat. A lot of people think carnivore means that you only eat meat,
right?
But that's not the case. You eat meat and animal products. So I eat a lot of eggs, dairy stuff.
Cheese. You need cheese, right?
Cheese, all kind of cheese, and even the cream cheese and things like that. You have to be careful, not to get the super,
calorie filled.
Yeah, that's not the word I'm
They're
looking
like
for.
the processed stuff, right? Like
That's
cheese.
the word I'm looking for. The processed stuff.
Yeah. That stuff ain't good for you anyway. So
no. So yeah. So I eat a lot of beef these days.
Well, Eric, he lost 20 pounds recently, so he's been
I've lost 25
put some
on
cold water
the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
So I'd like to lose. My goal is to lose about another 25. So.
Well, that's good. We can look forward to seeing less of you, Roland.
That's right. Yeah.
He turns sideways and go, "Where did he go?" Toothpick.
Yeah.
I was saying before you came on, I sewed a test cover and untrimmed approval cover that has the ads in the inside and on the back cover of an O20 center. So I'll be sending that out tomorrow. Red Wolf,
nice.
Who made his first appearance in the Avengers.
Sweet.
Man, you
issue
got
88 or 89, wasn't it?
What?
His first appearance.
Red Wolf, I think he was before that, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, in the Avengers. Yeah, maybe 79, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Because I know I got introduced to him through the Tigra, actually. I think it was Marvel Premiere of Tigra.
This is actually just the cover. It's approval cover, or what they call a test cover, and has the but I agree with you, it is a nice cover. Has the ads on the outside and on the inside. So they would have pulled this out for quality purposes at the time, and very few of these around,
I'm seeing 80.
Issue 80 of the Avengers. Yeah. Okay. So not a comic, not a full comic with the guts in it, but yeah. Do you get into the keto at all, Roland? Or are you thinking about getting any?
No.
Yeah.
Just the full
I don't know what the difference. What's keto is like. Is that where you can still eat bread, but it has to be like a certain kind of bread or something?
I think so. I don't know enough about. I don't do it, so I don't know enough about it.
Yeah,
it's the carbs you kind of got to look out for.
I was working and we made stuff for people on keto. We made like supplements and stuff, so I got to know a little bit about it. But I don't know.
Now you're down south, Roland.
Yes, I am. I'm down in Florida.
You're in Florida, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Down there with the lovely Kate.
Kate from Orlando. Yeah, she's in Orlando.
Okay.
Now, do you like? She's another fellow YouTuber. Do you like your governor? What he's doing?
Well, I mean, I've been out of touch. It sounds like something might have just recently happened, and if that's the case, I don't know. But in general, I really like my governor. Yes.
In general, yeah. I mean, they say you're the freest state right now.
We are. We're the free state of Florida, man. My son just got married this past weekend, so we've been wrapped up in doing a lot of wedding
congratulations,
stuff.
Man!
Thank you.
Congratulations! Absolutely.
Pretty excited about it.
You going to be expecting some grandbaby soon?
We hope so within the year.
Now, tell me, Roland, I didn't.
If he does things right on that honeymoon.
That's right. That's right.
Well, as long as you got some cake and punch,
Right.
Yeah. And how long did they date? How long were they kind of together?
They dated a little over 7 years. They're high school
sweethearts. So you really come to know her over that time, haven't you?
Yeah. We've gotten to know her. We really like her.
Yeah.
And I think I think she's her plans are to spit out a half a dozen of them.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
She's a keeper.
Yes, she is.
Eric says there are some bread substitutes, cottage cheese, and I guess you can have cottage cheese, can't you, Roland?
Yep.
And egg, for example. You can eat some fruits and veggies on keto.
I eat a lot of eggs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do I. I try. I love bread so much, man. It's hard for me to completely quit. you know.
Yeah.
So, but I try to eat mostly just meat and cheese most
it's
of my
not as
meals.
hard as I thought it would be, because I love bread as well. But I think the hardest thing for me has been Coke. I am a
man,
I'm a Cokeaholic, but I
Oh,
think
really? See, that
I think the milk helps to, because I drink a lot of milk, and so I think the milk helps to satisfy any kind of Coke cravings I have.
I swore off soda. I mean,
Good for
occasionally
you.
because I do drink mixes. Like wine punch. That's a new box I got last night. I occasionally, just to get a new bottle, I'll get a soda when I'm out and about and working. And then the next day I'll fill it up with some drink mix, just to keep these from getting grody and whatnot.
the only thing like really bad about those Rex is all the artificial sweeteners. I think.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe I'm killing myself and I don't even know. But I've gotten into this craze of drink mix box collecting. Roland, you need to help me with
that. We did some of that for a little while, but we kind of shifted over to the when I started carnivore, we shifted over to the zero Gatorade.
Some of the packets are quite big, large for larger quantity. But and then here's kind of a regular.
Oh, that's good to know though. So Gatorade is okay for carnivore diet.
The zero Gatorade is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got some zero.
Okay.
Yeah, zero. I that is their brand. I got that last night. Zero brand Gatorade.
Yep, there you go.
Mix up. Yeah, and I've got some regular Gatorade in there as well. I know Eric likes Dr. Pepper a lot. Besides, is Coke your favorite? I know Coke Zero. I think it was Coke Zero my father really liked.
Yeah, Coke is my favorite. And I'll be honest with you, I still grab a Coke from time to time. Though not like I used to. I probably put down about a 2 liter a day.
Sounds like my wife.
Oh, it was bad.
You can clean your battery, your car battery.
I know it.
Yep. Yeah. Coca-Cola it's a powerful thing.
It is a powerful thing. It'll eat through you eventually, I think. I mean, a lot of the drink sodas have corn syrup, different things in there.
Yep.
But now, recently in the news, Coca-Cola said they're going back to natural cane sugar, which is still
all that.
That's good news.
Yeah.
That is good news.
Trump actually asked Coke or something,
Well, you could still get the old cane sugar Coke in Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't know why why they're all coming here.
Well, it's funny because I didn't realize this until I started the carnivore diet. But there's a lot of food that we eat in the U.S. that they won't allow outside the U.S. Europe. They're like, no, we're not going to eat that. We're going to eat this version of it.
Let me show you some examples of stuff that I ate last night, which is not great. But you see this Philly cheese potato,
and those are good.
Oh, those are good, dude. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're kind of different. They're not.
I don't eat many chips, so every once in a while I have a couple.
But now, have you seen this? And no jokes, pickles and balls.
Oh, come on, you know them. I can't help myself.
Vlasic pickle balls. Dill pickle corn puffs. And I even saved a sample to show you what they look like. So just kind of lime colored.
So it's like a corn puff with pickle juice sprinkled on it?
Basically something. Dill, something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's different.
Those 2 bags over $6 at a convenience store.
I know they're not good for me, but I used to every now and again like to get those deep fried pickles with the batter on them. Oh, those are pretty good.
I think Carrie spewed. She says, "Damn it, Rex, I was drinking." You never know when I'm going to strike. Yeah. I've been watching.
Yeah, you got me more than once.
Roland, my entertainment, and it's been in the news lately. Hex Allen shared this with me recently. I've been watching all 20 seasons of Gunsmoke.
Wow.
I worked for a week in Atlanta and made, some pretty good money. So I said, the one thing I want out of that is, besides paying my dog's vet bill, is the whole 20 seasons of Gunsmoke. So I went on eBay, bought and I'm on season 17 now. I've been binge watching.
Wow.
Last night I saw, Happy Days. Like Ron Howard's sister, she was in there as a little girl.
Yeah.
Aaron Moran, really? Huh.
Yeah, she was in there. I was like, I know that freckle face.
Yeah.
Little kid.
Joni loves
and in this season, Pat Hinkle, who played Commissioner Gordon at one time in Batman movies. Pat Hinkle, Pat Hinkle. He played a lot of those westerns, but he replaced.
I don't remember him.
He placed Milton Stone, who plays Doc for a little while as the Doctor. I'd totally forgotten about that. Of course, we're up in the early 70s, so it's probably been since the early 70s since I've watched some of these episodes. Burt Reynolds was in the sort of I don't know, 63, 64, maybe even 62. He was in Gunsmoke as a regular for a couple of seasons.
I didn't know he was a regular. I knew he was on it.
Yeah,
there was a lot of people on Gunsmoke.
He was the blacksmith. Oh yeah, there's been a lot. In fact, I'm looking forward to some of the latter ones. It ran from 1955 to 75, and I'm looking forward to seeing. We had Mark Largent on the other day, and he said he Googled it, I guess, and he said, "You're the hand behind the puppet." There you go. Yeah, Mark's a great guy. He said that.
Mark's fun too. I like his what's the name of it?
His Star Trek parody stuff with the
the parody stuff. Oh, dude,
Stalled
Trek.
He said that Han Solo and Indiana Jones was in Harrison Ford was in a couple episodes of Gunsmoke, even in the
really.
Shit. So I'm looking forward to
probably would have been right when he was getting started in Hollywood.
No, maybe 1967's when he started was his first gig.
Really?
And it was
that long ago? Okay.
I've got the movie, his very first walk-on type thing. He was like thrown for, they're in a hotel or whatever, and he's with James Coburn. It was a James Coburn movie.
Well, I know they found him. Apparently, he was working on one of the crews. He was like a carpenter, building sets and shit. And somebody discovered him or whatever.
Right. I mean, definitely his career took off.
When Star Wars hit, he was good to go.
Actually, Tim Burton was considering him to be Batman, and his reaction, I just saw a video on that. He was like, "Oh, damn it, I could have had a good career." Yeah, you don't get much better than his career that he's had, I guess. He's done a lot of movies.
No, he's done pretty well for himself.
Yeah. Did you see his most recent movie, that Captain America, or do you go to the movies, Roland, at all?
I do. I go to the movies frequently. It's one of the things that I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I do like to watch movies.
Well, here we got a question from Eric. How long have you been publishing comics? I know it's been a long time.
So as a publisher, so I've been working in comics since the late 80s, but as a publisher, I didn't start until 97. And then I published from 97 to about 2000, and the industry had just tanked and I lost a lot of money. And then I didn't kick it up again for about 15 years. But I've been doing it about 10 years again now, which doesn't feel like I've been doing it that long this second time.
What is your character's name? I should know, and I showed all three of the ones that I had from Demon's Tales. Is your character just called Demon?
Yes.
Okay. And now Rejects is your most recent one, 1 and 2 Rejects, and that's on Kickstarter and Fund My Comic. Is that right?
No, it's only on Fund My Comic.
Okay, only on Fund My Comic. And then you have also your Silverline Comics store.
Yes.
Over there.
Yep. Yeah.
And you also have Silverline Team Up, which is doing very well over there.
Yeah, the Silverline Team Up has been a lot of fun. So what we try to do, people ask us about that. It makes sense to me, but I know that sometimes it's confusing. This is what I want to say. This is the Rejects issue 2. This is the one that's funding now. We've got about a week left. The only way you can get this this foil cover is through the campaign. Obviously, the book will be available afterwards.
Okay.
But the only way you can get this foil cover is to back the campaign.
Now you got public domain characters like Paul Bunyan and his blue ox in that, don't
Babe
you?
the Blue Ox. Yep.
Babe the Blue Ox.
Yeah, they're not seen. You know what I was trying to do? I was trying to, of course, all of the rejects are created by me, but and they're not public domain characters. They're just kind of goofy characters.
Oh,
but,
is Paul Bunyan not considered?
No. I meant all he's not one of the rejects. He's the villain in the rejects this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he and Babe actually fight the rejects in this issue. So, but like the characters from the rejects who make up the rejects are folks like a Buckshot, One Round Kid, Divinity,
One round kid.
One Round Kid.
Does that mean he'll only buy drinks one round?
You know, there's multiple interpretations of the One Round Kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the first issue, let's see if I've got the first issue up here.
So this is the second issue, but you're also offering a catch up for issue number 1 on this campaign.
Absolutely, 100%. So in the first issue, right, here's we open up. Here is Buckshot. That's Buckshot right there, and he's giving One Round Kid his 1 round, and he's having to chase it down for his one round. And then we've got Snap-on Man, and most Southerners know Snap-on is a brand of tools.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's Snap-on Man, and then that's
I remember the commercial, Roland. Snap-on.
yeah.
Snap-on. No, not really. Maybe that was Craftsman.
And then there's the See-Through Man.
Okay.
And then we've got Hot Flash, who's heat only comes at certain times when she doesn't want it to. And then who have I not mentioned? I haven't mentioned Burnside, whose sideburns are a lot like Dr. Octopus tentacles.
Who's the big lizard guy?
That's the Churl. He's the villain here. They're fighting.
Well, there's your lizard representation for today, Lorenzo, right there. Because he is lizard, right?
Yeah. His name is the Churl. And of course, then the big baddie right here. That's the Rapscallion.
Yeah, I love that cover. I always like when the villains are larger than the hero, so menacing looking. Eric and Boyd says, I had Cat and Mouse #1 written by Roland and published by Aircell. I want to get those old Miss Fury comics from Adventure Comics at some point. Yeah. I showed the Demon Tales yesterday of 1, 2, and 3.
Well, thank you.
From Adventure Comics.
Well, Eric, here's the funny thing. I have been trying to locate issue 2s. I have got probably, and I'm guessing now, but I've probably got about 15 copies of 1, 3, and 4. But I don't have any copies of number 2. So I've reached out to folks like Mile High Comics and said, hey, look, I'd like to buy, a dozen of these from you so I can put together sets and make them available, but I can't get them to answer me. So I don't know.
Chuck Rosansky, get on the phone.
Well, that's the thing is like, he's not, I know Chuck, he's not my best friend or anything, but, just been around the industry for a long time. So I know him and it's like, come on, Chuck, answer me, dude. You want to sell me a dozen books or not? And maybe it's because I said, hey, 20 books. I'd like you to not sell them all to me at cover price because I'm going to package them together and resell them. And I don't know if maybe they're just like, yeah, no, we'll sell them to you at cover price.
Do you try and keep at least one personal file copy with everything that you publish?
I do. I actually have two personal copies of most of what I've done.
So it's not like you don't have an issue of Cat and Mouse 2. You just want extras so you can make sets.
Correct.
For people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I try to keep a copy in like a pristine format. And then I've got like my box down here. This is what I call my reference box. And so I've just got, here's like the entire run of the Aircell Cat and Mouse. as well as
Okay.
The first issue from EF Graphics.
I've got a lot of Aircel. I mean, yeah. Okay. So you got EF Graphics, you got Aircel. What are some of the other publishers that's published some of your stuff?
I did work for Kamiko. I did work for Caliber. I did work for Campfire.
Press.
Caliber Press. They did my Barbarian story. They did Cray. And then they did
Empire, you said?
No. That was somebody else. I didn't do Empire.
Okay.
Although Empire Lanes was pretty good. Did you ever read Empire Lanes?
I've seen it. Yeah. I like your cap, by the way. I'm being in Arkansas, I suppose. Razorback, go Hogs.
That's right. Woo pig.
Woo,
I just got my Hogs Illustrated in. I haven't read it yet. But every year they do the football.
I forget now. You had family in Arkansas, not too far from me.
Yeah,
I forgot that.
Yeah. In fact, I think I'm actually wearing the Greenway Picnic shirt from last year.
Okay,
no, 2019.
Are family reunions a big thing in your family?
They have been. They were until my dad passed away, because he was the one who ran them. And no one has picked it. I live down in Florida, and so I can't really put it all together there. And no one's picked up the torch to carry them on. So
that's really sad. I think families, of course, families are being torn apart, and I think that's part of the plan. Myself,
I don't disagree.
But I think you think about all the great times you probably had eating watermelon with your cousins or something. At a family reunion. Cantaloupe or whatever you did on your reunion. So they're I mean, it's sad if you say, well, the only time we get together is for a funeral, So family reunions is a tradition every family needs to start, even if their family is small or blended or whatever,
right.
Something I think
I agree. We would do them every other year.
Every other year, you could do that if it's more convenient. Of course,
because we had folks coming from Michigan, Kentucky, Texas, and of course we came from Florida, so that we were kind of coming from all over.
Florida being one of the oldest states, I mean, especially settled. A lot. Do you have a large Hispanic, I suppose, and Cuban as well? I'm sure down there.
Yeah, we do.
But now Spain actually possessed Florida for a while.
It sure did. Yeah,
big time. Yeah.
The neighborhood that we live in. I don't know any percentages or anything, but I play on a softball team, and probably out of 15 of us, I want to say there's 4 who are native Spanish speakers, and I think they're all Puerto Rican though.
You're crazy if you're not bilingual nowadays. It seems like.
I struggle with English, so
I do too. I'm still learning English. That's what I tell people. Now, what position do you play on softball team?
Well, first base was my position when I was younger, but they put me on shortstop this year.
Oh, that's a hard position. Really?
And I think the only reason they put me on shortstop was because I could throw the ball. I still got a pretty good arm. And so
well, that's something you can do that I can't. It's a weak little I can't.
Well, I got to catch it before I can throw it. That was kind of my problem. It's like, why do you put me on shortstop? I'm not fast enough for shortstop. I was never a quick guy. So I will say this: I had a lot of fun doing it. The way they have it broken down is they have it in divisions, right? It's a senior league. So they have it Division 1 is like this the best players, and we went all the way through Division 6. And so they tell me that I'm going to move up to 4 or 2 this coming year.
Okay.
And I had fun on 5.
They have like divisions here, like A, B, C, D. We weren't very good with our church softball, but I had a lot of fun doing it. We were in like D League, but we won the D League. I've actually got a trophy in there says
nice.
#1 on D League, but nothing to crow about. But
I got I made the All-Stars this year, which I didn't realize we even did. So
that's awesome.
I got me a hat out of it. It's over there. Got me an All-Star hat out of it. We had a blast. We had an All-Star game, and it was a lot of fun. Because it was all guys from the league that I competed against, and so it was fun to get out there with a couple of my teammates and then guys from the other league. We just had a blast.
There's your link for the rejects up there. He was having trouble finding it, but now all the links are up top of the chat. If you go all the way up there, I have his Silverline team up also over there on Fun My Comic, and then there's also the Silverline store over there. So all the links are up at the top of the chat.
So what we try to do is, because folks often ask me, how can I get one of the older issues? So there's a those who've been hanging around for a while kind of know this. So we started doing this back around, we started the crowdfunders back around 2018, I think. I'd have to go back and look at the first one. We've done about 30 of them. I've lost count after about 30. But what we wanted to do, we knew that we wanted to get into Diamond. Now, all the stuff going on with Diamond, that's a completely different, discussion. But we knew that we wanted to get in Diamond. And part of the reason we wanted to get into Diamond is because there's a lot of retailers that don't consider you legitimate if you're not in the catalog, right? And if you're not, and so, but we knew that we couldn't keep a schedule to get our books in the stores on time. So we decided, let's crowdfund, let's spend a couple of years crowdfunding, backstock some comics, and then once we get some, we'll start releasing through Diamond. So we did that. We started crowdfunding and raising the money to help raising it to help us get a little bit of money, get some books printed, and get us a backstock going. Once we got 3 completed miniseries, that was Trumps, Kalis, and Twilight Grim, we said, okay, now's the time. Let's go to Diamond. So we began to solicit the books every month because I am of the belief that if you ever skip a month in the catalog, and again, things are changing with Diamond, retailers will forget about you. And it's not intentional. It's not like, oh, you're not in there this month, so we hate you. No. It's just like you have to be there every single month. And so that's part of why we decided that we were going to wait until we had some stuff ready to go. And so one of the things we decided is that our Silverline store that's on Fund My Comic is for all of those comics that have been solicited through comic shops, right? So if you didn't get, if you missed Cat and Mouse, which has been solicited, or if you missed Trumps, if you missed Twilight Grim, if you missed those through your local comic shop, you can order them through our store. Now, if you go to the store, you'll notice that Rejects #1 is not on there, okay?
Yeah.
The way we want you to get Rejects #1 is to back our campaign. Any of the campaigns, right? Because with any of the campaigns, we've decided that any of our crowdfunding books are available in the crowdfunders, but Rejects won't be available on our store until we actually move it through the comic shops. The only way that you can get the back issues then is to support our crowdfunders, which, by the way, if anybody's out there listening, we have not made goal yet. So we're pretty close. I haven't looked at it. You might have the link up.
Yeah, I can bring it up. Absolutely.
We're pretty close, but we need some help. So you guys get over there and back it if you can.
You're 73%.
Okay,
73% there.
Pretty close. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, like I said, we've had 30 plus campaigns, all of those fulfilled on time, and I feel like with all the stuff going on today, I have to say that, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's my little tagline right there, right? When the Avengers when the Avengers are keep scrolling. Here we go. Oh, what happens when the Fantastic Four is busy? When the Justice League is unavailable? When the Avengers are out of the galaxy? The world has no other option but to call. Wait, no, they don't call the Rejects. But who are the Rejects? They are formidable. They are ferocious. They are fearless. And they are forgettable. They're the heroes that no one wanted. They're just a team of rejected heroes who are trying to make a name for themselves and prove they've got what it takes. and that might include getting on the 5 o'clock news.
Welcome to the show, Texas Dave. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
We're
What's up?
good.
It's been a while since I was last on, but I'll tell you why after.
Okay. We were talking with Roland Mann about his new project, The Rejects. Of course, he has Silverline Team Up, and he also has his store, which I think is brilliant. You're and actually Randy Zimmerman, you may know, Roland.
Yeah.
From Arrow Comics. I've been trying to get him to do, and he was already thinking about it, but I said, man, that's perfect. Over there on Fund My Comic, so this is the villain from first issue. Does he make a reappearance in issue 2 as well?
He does. Okay. Now that's actually a page of original art from the first issue that's available as as an add-on. But he is also in the second issue. He is our main villain for our series.
You want to talk about the people you're working with on this project?
Sure. Rick Plata is the penciler, and he is a veteran penciler out of Mexico. He has worked for years and years and years as an illustrator. He does a lot of Mad Magazine style content, and if you look at the artwork, you can really see it. I love it. I was always a fan of Mad Magazine, of Cracked, Crazy,
Absolutely.
And so when I saw his work, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect, and he has enjoyed doing it. And in fact, he's already ready for the next issue. So Rick is the penciler. The inking is split between Rebecca Winslow and Barb Kalberg. Barb, of course, she's a longtime veteran for Silverline. And then Haley Martin is our colorist, and she just does a bang up job. So,
awesome.
Yep. So I think if you scroll up just a little bit, you'll see there's a list right there that you're looking at. There's a list of the individual issues.
Oh, here. Yeah.
Yep. Those are all of the issues that if you miss them, you can add on to. You're like, oh, I missed Kalis number 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I didn't get. You mentioned Silverline Team Up. There's Silverline Team Up 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, so, I think I bought Pendulum, perhaps. Let's see. Just looking over some of these, I know I had like Demon's Tales and others. Now you funded. Is it Be? Am I saying that right?
Bear.
Bear. Number 1 and 2 over on Fund My Comic. I remember that. Carrie, I believe it backed you on that one. And
she sure did.
Shadowhawk. Yeah.
Yep.
Now I noticed you've got a trailer here. Shall we play that?
Yeah, go right ahead. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we're going to chop that up on.
You shouldn't do that, Rex.
Sorry.
It's all right.
This is perfect, Roland, for my choppy ass theater. Get your Viewmasters out, kids. Awesome. I love the Marvel style Silverline, doing that.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you and I have talked about it, but sometimes people say, well, where does Silverline come from? And it actually comes from the fact that when I first started doing this with my buddy Stephen Butler, he and I are big fans of the Silver Age of comics.
Yeah.
And so that's what we wanted. That's exactly what we talked about. It's like we wanted to make. We don't want to make Silver Age comics, obviously, but we want to make them in the spirit of the Silver Age. And so we said, oh, we want to be some kind of like Silver Age line, right? And it just got over as we talked about it. It just got reduced to Silverline.
I remember Stephen Butler's name associated with the Badger.
Oh yeah, the Badger was one of the first things he did right after he left working with me on stuff, and that Badger propelled him into work at Marvel. Then
I love the indie stuff. I mean, there were so many great creators going way back, even to the '60s. I know,
I'm a big indie guy.
Jim Starlin, he started out in like what we would call fanzines. Roy Thomas did the Altered Ego, which he's now continuing in magazine format, but it started out in the '60s, sort of the mid '60s as a fanzine. How do you see fanzines as opposed to comics? I mean, what's the difference for people that wouldn't know?
Today I don't know, to be honest with you, but back in the day, I think it was a great way for it was our internet of the day, I guess you would say. You could, if you were part of a fanzine, you were able to pen pal it with it, because this was all mail. We did all the stuff in the mail
through mail order.
Yeah.
I remember those days myself.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Mile High Comics. They always ran ads for decades, and for my and Bud Root, I think. Just and then they had the heroes, ordering the toys and things like that were comic related. Joe Kubert illustrated a bunch of those things. It was all done through the mail, and then even the artwork was not like today. We can do it all on computer, right, Roland?
Right.
But back then you had to physically put it in the mail and send
mail
it
in.
Yeah. Greats like Jack Kirby. He didn't even meet the inkers that inked his stuff.
Right.
Like Joe Sennett that inked him for like 11 years before he actually met him in person.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's funny because I went to Heroes Con, and who did I see that I forget who it was. It might have been Paul Pelletier and
I love Paul's stuff.
And Jim Amish. So I worked with both of those. Paul did Demon's Tales, of course.
Right. And I did not realize that. I remember his cross-gen stuff.
Right.
That's when they really caught my eye. But then it's like, no, Paul did Demon Tales.
Yep.
Demon Tales. Which
he sure did. So he's been working for a long time. And see, I hired Jim Amish, the inker, to work for me at Malibu. And at Heroes Con, I sat right beside Paul, and Jim Amish came to talk with me, and I didn't realize the two of them had never met. Right here, we're talking about this work. This work goes back. Jim didn't ink a lot of Paul, but he inked some of Paul back in the '90s. Right? They never met, and this was because all of that was done, by mail, and it's a different thing today. So I don't know. I don't even know. Do we have fanzines today? I apologize that I'm ignorant of that.
We have one over here, Roland, in the UK.
Oh, you do? What's it?
I'll just dig out an issue for you, one of the recent ones. Hang on. How about that one?
Past Perfect. I've heard of that. There's a convention, wow. Past Perfect convention, isn't it?
No, this is just a guy that does this as a monthly magazine covering all topics.
Okay. I was thinking there was I got my penciling buddy, Peter Clinton. He does a show over there. I can't remember the name of that show.
Yeah, this is just like a monthly magazine that he publishes every 4 weeks.
Nice.
That's probably sold by subscription. Did Silverline Comics ever try and do subscriptions for any of your books? Yeah.
No, we didn't.
I had Mike Gustovich over the other day, and I said, your Justice Machine. I subscribed to that for 2 years because you would get, the incentive was you could get your own one single character from the Justice Machine drawn by Mike and sent to you with your subscription. I never received anything. With the few subscriptions that I tried, which wasn't much, like Miss Mystic with Neil Adams, I got I waited 6 months and got issue 2, and that was it. Right. That's all I got for my year's subscription. So some of these indie books were not not great on this fulfilling their subscriptions. I don't know why, but
yeah.
Yeah, it took a long time with that title, didn't it, to get just a few issues, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We talked about it, and I don't know that I could, the way we're doing things, I don't know that I could offer a subscription to any like one book because of the production. But I might say, hey, you could, if you have a Silverline subscription, you get a book a month, one comic a month of whatever we happen to do. And I just don't know at this point in time. I don't know that we're set up and equipped to do that kind of thing.
Right. I don't have a subscription, but like when you back my book, my crowdfunder over on Fund My Comic, you got a charter member card, like a Devil Flyer fan club card.
Yeah.
And then that entitles you to free stuff from now on through the mail. So that's one way to do it and keep in contact with people. It may just be like, hey, I've got a new project coming up on Fund My Comic or Indiegogo or Kickstarter or Zoop or wherever. And that's a great way to reach out to people and then give back to people also and get them interested. I love the days where you had badges and patches and decoder rings and things like that. I know that's before our time, but it's a neat concept. That was early promo stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever put out any promo books just for promotional purposes?
I haven't in many, many years. I used to have a copy of my one.
But you did put out a few. Okay.
I did. Yeah. We put out it's just a newsprint thing. And of course now with Peter Cimetti doing newsprint again, might be able to look into some of those kind of things. Part of it is promos. I don't see it here. Part of it is so much of that stuff is so expensive to do. You can't go print a book and give it out for free anymore because it's just too pricey.
Yeah. I mean, when I was very young, you go into businesses and they would have like keychains, pins, that were made up for them. You often don't see promo stuff given out anymore. Dave, did any of the shops when you were younger have anything like that, like little giveaway things that promoted their business?
Not really, no. I would say we got the free gifts with the first 3 issues of a lot of British comics, though.
Okay. That's right, because your sort of magazine-sized comics would have like all types of stuff, right?
Oh yeah, like sort of free, like paper hats and guns and all sorts of stuff. There was
stickers, but there were some 3D stickers. Objects with them, right?
Yeah, there was all kinds of things you got, little model planes and all sorts.
Shadowhawk wants to know if you've gotten your kitchen buttoned up yet. Still working on that, huh?
Well, have I got a story to tell you about that?
Okay, go ahead.
Right. Well, I don't know when the last time was I spoke to you. Was it about 3 weeks ago?
A couple of weeks ago. I mean, about 3 weeks it's been since
you've
been on, I guess.
Yeah, well, like I say, right, so I've had a lot going on, well, with my kitchen, plus also my sister having to move house. Did I tell you about that?
Look at that wonderful spinner rack that he has, Roland. He got that through Diamond. He got that through Diamond, but he had to wait 8 months for it because of Diamond's problems. What's going to happen with Diamond? And now Dynamite's blown up, apparently. Dynamite Comics.
Yeah, I believe so. Are we
in a slump for comics, you think, guys? I mean, it seems like
I don't know.
Well,
I know COVID didn't help,
Well, whatever this is, you guys have been around long enough to know that, we've been through a couple of changes. We went through, when we were really young, we saw the changes from, and I didn't understand it all. I kind of saw it happening, but from the newsstand to the comic shop, right?
Yeah.
Where you kind of stopped buying your comics off of the newsstand and you started buying
market
comic shops.
Yeah.
Direct market. And then in the early 90s, we saw the collapse of the distribution model where we went from more than a dozen distributors down to Diamond. we are in the middle of another one of those historic changes. What with everything that's going on with Diamond, what's going to happen is I don't know. But we are in the middle of one of those historic moments in comics, and Diamond owes us money. They don't owe us the kind of money that I've heard they owe
Image,
Dynamite, whatever. We don't have $3 million in losses. But
is that what happened with partly happened with Dynamite was they kind of got stuck with Diamond?
Yes.
Wow. This is a big wrecking ball for comics, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I'm seeing if I fix something here. There we go. Yeah, so I keep someone, buddy of mine asked me the other day, he goes, "Hey, I saw you solicited another comic through Diamond." I said, "I'm going to keep soliciting it as long as they keep asking me to solicit, but I can't ship them any more books until they pay me for what they owe me." Number one, I can't afford it. I can't afford to, because essentially what I've done is I have paid the printer, and Carrie asked me if I will ship outside of the States. Yes, I will absolutely ship outside of the States, Carrie. If you see something if you see one of the tiers, let me know. I'll go calculate it and put that up. When I first started doing Fund My Comic, you have to do all the different things, and I was adding them all in, and I didn't get that very many overseas backers, and so that was just a lot of work. And so now, if I know someone's interested, I'll go do it for that tier. So I will absolutely do it, Carrie. Just drop me a message, let me know what you're looking at, and I'll calculate that for.
Yeah, I know on Fund My Comic you had to put on like all the individual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single little one. And again, I don't mind doing it. It's just that I'd rather not do every single one of them and then get that's just a lot of time. But I'm happy to do it if I know someone is interested.
Yeah, she says Fund My Comic is saying you don't ship to the UK. That's only because he hasn't set it up yet.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So set that up for Carrie, and
I'm making myself
Carrie, get
right
with
now.
Roland if you need his link. All the links are down in the description. His X, his Instagram, I believe, or Facebook. I don't know. Are you on Instagram as well, Roland?
I am.
Okay. Now, who posts to your Silverline on X? Who posts to that?
On X. That is my social media wife. Who does all that? She
I just subbed today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
I was not subbed to that, so I like to keep in contact.
Yeah, please do. She handles most of the. I want book 2 covered by. I'm writing this down, and then book 1 as an add-on. Book 2. To Haley, and number 1. I will get that, Carrie. I'll get that as soon as we're done here tonight. So we talked a lot about social media. I still work a full-time job, and so this goes back a couple years, and we were just talking about how I am not very good with social media. And we're just sitting around talking one day, and my wife said, "Well, what would you think if I helped you out?" I said, "I would love that, actually." And because I had these ideas, I'm like, here's what I'd kind of like to do, with the social media, but I can't do it. I don't have time. Or you'll see, I'll do a little flurry, and then, a week or 2 weeks will pass, and then there's nothing. And that's not good for engagement and social media. So
you need to be Stan Lee. You need to be out there.
That's it. You're right. But that's hard to do when I'm working a full-time job and trying to make the comics.
Now, you shared that with us before. You're a teacher, right?
I am a teacher. I am a university instructor. I teach creative writing. I teach comic book writing down at Full Sail University.
Well, that's got to be awesome. That's got to be awesome to be able to teach that in college.
I tell people I have the coolest class around. because I get to talk about comic books all day long.
That sounds like a fun job.
It is a fun job. I mean, there are frustrations that come with any job, but overall, it's a lot of fun because I get to talk to students. And I will tell you this: I think because I've been doing this about 13 years now, I think teaching it's made me a much smarter. I'm not saying I'm a better creator for it, but I think it's made me a much smarter creator. I guess you guys who are reading the books will have to tell me if I've gotten better. But I certainly think it's made me smarter, and I know. A lot of times I know now why I do some of the things I do, where I didn't know the reasons before. I just kind of did them. But I enjoy the heck out of it.
Will there be a B3?
There will be. There will be. In fact, Haley has that, and she is working on it now.
Now, will you be? You won't add that immediately, right? You'll probably crowdfund that.
We will crowdfund that. Yep, we sure will.
Okay, and then you'll add it to your store eventually.
Correct. Yeah. Well,
now, do you have a website that I don't know about, or are you kind of using Fund My Comic as that?
No, we've got a website, silverlinecomics.com.
Okay.
And we use that primarily for shops. To be our face for the comic shops, the retailers, and that kind of thing, so they can see what's in the catalog and that kind of thing.
Now, how long have you been teaching, Roland? In
I've
college
been teaching since 2003.
All in the same place, or did you have to?
Oh, no. From here for Full Sail, I've been here since 2011. So for 13 years. Yeah, 13 years in this one place.
Okay. Wow. I've been at my job for 13 years. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's 2014 if you count back.
Well, 2011.
Oh, is it 2011?
I was in my last job for 17 years, Rex.
17 years. That's impressive. My goal is to at least make it this one to 15. I've never been. This is the longest I've worked anywhere.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
And so my goal is to make it to at least 15 years.
That's kind of my goal too. We're so close.
I've cracked it.
Well, I get an extra week's vacation if I can do that.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to ask you if you got tenure.
No.
I've already cracked that one, Rex.
There's no tenure at this university, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would a crowd, when you're teaching about sequential artwork, and I guess you go into the history of it, and then just how to kind of compose a comic. How many students do you have?
So on any given month, I have anywhere from about 30 to 50 students. Most of those are online, and it's part of the creative writing program. I'd say probably only about 10% of our students are on campus. We go through the process. There is a little history of comics. It's just a short lecture to take them from the beginning to kind of where we are now. I am kind of waiting to see what happens with Diamond before I can update that. Yeah. But it's a writing program, so I focus on, here's what you need to include in a pitch. Here's how you develop that pitch based on an editor's comments, how you develop that pitch into a summary. Here's how you take the summary, break it down into a script. We go through, there's a lettering component because as you know, writers today have to bring more to the table than just being able to write. Some of them know how to use Photoshop. Some of them know how to use, photography. And I give them the example. When I moved to Florence, Alabama, I left the teaching job to go because my wife got a good job in Florence. And so I started working as a newspaper writer there. And one of the things that the editor did is when I went in, he handed me a camera. Then I said, "What's this for?" And it was one of those, you guys probably remember this. It was a disposable 35 millimeter disposable camera, had 24 pictures on it. And he said, "I need you to take pictures." And I just said, "I'm not a photographer." And he goes, "Yeah, well, you are for this one." And I said, but I'm a writer. And he goes, "Well, you're a photographer too." He goes, "We can't afford a photographer to go along behind you. So he goes, there's 24 exposures on this camera.
So that's one of those that you sent the camera in as well when you got it developed, right? It's
yeah. They had they had all that at the paper. So I just handed my camera to the editor, and they took care of all that on in house. But he told me, he said, you just take 24 pictures. He goes, and I'll find something out of there that I can use. I hated it. I hated taking the pictures. I hated doing all of that. But that's, I think, when I realized, okay, there are very few Stephen Kings. There are very few John Grishams. Most writers have to have something else they can do. And then when I went from that to being a newspaper editor, I had to learn how to do page layout. And so that's when I learned to do, it was Page Maker back then, but now, of course, it's InDesign.
You edited for Malibu, right?
I was an editor for Malibu. Now, I didn't have to do any of the layout for Malibu. We had designers to do all that. But yes, I was an editor for Malibu.
So what is, I mean, you were saying you had to be more than a writer. Now, sound effects.
Yeah.
How do you kind of compose sound effects? Because a good sound effect is, do you try and go by the sound of something? Or,
Yes.
I mean,
yeah. I love sound effects, and if you've read any of my comics, you will see that there's a healthy smattering of sound effects in there. I like to make the sound, with my mouth out loud, and then how would you spell that? What is that? What is that? How would you spell that? That's not a word.
I know. I had one. I said, I had to think about, okay, with his trident, Devil Flyer blast something. What's it sound like? So I came out with Chirac.
Chirac, good one.
Chirac.
Yeah.
What would the energy sound like?
Well, and the thing that you're going to have to remember is you're going to have to remember to be consistent with his blast now. His trident blast needs to always be Chirac, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because when you think about, right, what does Spider-Man's web sound like?
Thwip,
right? What does Wolverine's claws sound like?
Snick,
right? These always sound the same, right? So
what is it, Jeopardy? What the hell?
I'll take
comic book Jeopardy.
400. Yeah.
I'll take Superman's curl for 30.
Yeah, so
man. We look more like Hollywood Squares up here, Roland.
That's true. Yeah.
We need a few more members, but
we need a Soupy Sales, don't we?
Yeah, we need a Soupy Sales. Yeah.
I love sound effects. When I read a comic book without sound effects, it immediately goes in my, I should probably get rid of this comic book.
When I think of sound effects, I think like Walt Simonson. He integrates all those great, logos.
Crack-a-doom. Remember that one? Crack-a-doom. It's like, oh, what a great sound effect.
I mean, it's an art form just to work in the sound effects for things,
if you're one of these creators that don't put sound effects in your comics, I think you're cheating the reader out of part of the immersion of your world, right? Because you're cheating them out of sounds that occur in your world. 4 grandchildren. How do you recently discover you have 4 grandchildren?
I don't know.
Oh, look, 4 grandchildren. I misplaced them. Where were they?
Well, like me, I recently, like 2 years ago, discovered I had a sister. I had 2 sisters, even though one's passed away. And my birth, because I was adopted, and it turns out her father. We all had. My sisters and I all had different fathers, and her father actually passed away here in Jonesboro. So, and actually ran a business here. So I could have probably met him when he was alive. We've got a lot of around Brooklyn, Arkansas, and which is just out of town. Sure. You probably know some of these places because your parents were from
Piggott.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you the last time I've been through Piggott, but I know I've been through there,
as a matter of fact, I played some, not me, but my daughter played some basketball. We lived in Piggott for about a year and a half. And my daughter played basketball down in Brooklyn. some with
Oh,
the school.
wow. Okay. Man, Brooklyn has taken off. So she was a
Oh my
bear cat.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a bear cat.
No. She was a Mohawk. Piggott
A
Mohawk.
Mohawk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But we played against the Bearcats.
Okay. All right. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. I found it hard to play on their old gym floor. It was so slick. You know, they kept that thing waxed up so much. We would take wet towels and do our sneakers and then go out there and play to have any traction on that thing. It was very, you know, all the different. I mean, they kept some of those waxed up really good. You know,
Yeah.
It was hard to stand up on some of them. They were so slick.
Now I've got a cousin who you've probably seen his billboard. I got a cousin who's a dentist there in oh shoot, the little town in between Piggott and Jonesboro.
Oh, don't ask me because I'm not even sure where Pickett is on the map. But I know
Piggott is as far north and east as you can go and still be in Arkansas. It's in the it's up in the Boot Hill, right?
So they're right up against the Mississippi River, right?
No.
No? Wrong way.
Wrong way?
No, correct way, but Missouri, because they're in the Boot Hill, so Missouri.
Okay, so they're on the Missouri line. Okay.
Yes, on the Missouri line. Yeah, the Missouri is north of them and east of them.
Okay.
So
yeah. I mean, I'm probably an hour's drive away from Missouri myself. I could drive up in Missouri.
Yeah, Paragould.
I can't comment, right?
I was going to mention Paragould. I actually spray for mosquitoes in Paragould.
So have you ever seen the sign for the dentist Mann, M-A-N-N?
Probably, yeah. Let me look.
Kevin Mann.
When I go in there, I'll look. Yeah, now. So he's your cousin, is that right? Yep.
It's my first cousin.
Well, I might just go to his dentist office and go, "You're Rolling Man's cousin. Can I have your autograph?" It's a small world after all, folks.
It is. It really is.
You know how it is in Arkansas. If you don't like the weather, wait a minute, it'll change.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
It's not quite that quick, but we do have shifts in weather. This year we've gotten a lot more rain, which is amazing. I thought the mosquitoes would be really thick, and now we're just into the hot weather where, but now that's good for the farmers. I mean, farming's a big part in Arkansas, of course.
And my uncle's a land leveler up there. I don't know if you've seen.
Now not too far from me is the birthplace of Johnny Cash. I didn't know if you knew that, but Dice, Arkansas, and that's just a little. Yep. Have you ever been to Dice? I've been there
never
two
been
or three times.
No,
yeah, I've been there 2 or 3 times, and there was actually a major league ball player there, born there as well.
Really?
And actually, Dice, Arkansas was started by. It was a socialist experiment under FDR, and Eleanor Roosevelt actually came in like 1942 or whenever it was founded, early 40s, and dedicated the town. They gave every farmer a tractor, some grain, and some land and things like that. They gave them all equal things. I think they did the same thing up in Wyoming. They actually started the town. It was kind of like a socialist experiment that they did.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And you can imagine what the roads were like then, Roland. They're just now passable, because they probably weren't even gravel back then,
Oh, yep.
So Eleanor Roosevelt must have been thinking she's going out in the boonies, and she was.
Yep.
Because it's still out there in the boonies.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually got to see the first theater that was there. That's about all that's there, and some houses and just rural, rice and soybeans and Milo and all those crops. Most people don't even know what Milo is.
I know. My grandfather used to raise Milo some.
Really? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I even know what it is.
So you're in the know.
And that's the only reason is I know it's because of my grandfather.
Yeah. And a lot of cotton down here, of course. Corn. Yep. I'm seeing a lot more corn of late.
Yep. Mom and Dad, when they first bought their farm there outside of town, they had watermelon for a couple of years.
Oh, and Cave City. I don't know if you've ever had a Cave City watermelon, but they have a watermelon festival there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Well, I know
we
that,
have wonderful names like Possum Grape,
right?
Possum?
Goobertown is not Possum Grape.
Yeah.
That's
Was
our
it
only
Toad Lick?
marsupial. Toad
Every
Suck.
time I
Toad
every
Suck.
time I hear the word possum, I think of the Beverly Hillbillies for some reason.
Granny, yeah,
Yeah,
Possum.
yeah.
Yeah.
She would
For
send
years I
one of
didn't
those
realize.
things out.
For years I didn't realize there was an O on that word.
Oh,
It was just,
Opossum.
it was the
Right.
opossum,
Opossum.
yeah. But
Yeah.
we would just all call them possums.
We just call them
Not
possums,
opossum,
right? Not
yeah.
an opossum.
Yeah, not opossum.
That's being
Possum.
fancy, and you have to put your little finger up when you do that. You know, kind of like when drinking.
Opossum.
Opossum. All of a sudden, you're Austin. You know, with a little
Austin
mini
Powers,
me coming.
yeah.
Yeah, Austin Powers. Yeah. Yeah. So that's exciting that I mean, that's amazing that they offer. It sounded like your students do not do semesters. Do they do semesters there?
No. What our semesters are 1 month long. So
Okay.
I have my students for 4 weeks.
Do you talk about greats like Jack Kirby, Joe Simonson, and others?
Some
Steve Ditko, you know?
Yeah, some. Yeah, I do in the history when I do the history of comics, I talk about them.
Yeah.
I mentioned, of course, Siegel and Schuster, with Superman
Right.
and Kirby and Lee and Ditko and so yeah, I mentioned a lot of them in the history, but hey, that's kind of cool. Find one signed by Bob Layton.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I don't spend a whole lot of time on them. I do show them. There's someone's got a really nice Flickr page, I think it was. They put up all the they put up a bunch of double page spreads by Jack Kirby, and all you got to just Google double page spreads Jack Kirby, and you'll find this Flickr page, and you can just scroll through. I often will show those because they're just so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he influenced even the Devil Flyer story because I had like the opener that kind of grabbed you, and then I went to a double page spread, which often Kirby would do for impact. You know, it's just him standing there over Chicago. It's the hero shot. You know,
right? Yeah,
and where I kind of start the story because I have one of those moments that's in the future, and then earlier that day I go back to earlier that day, and then you'll revisit him all chained up and in peril and sinking and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that happening with Spider-Man, and that kind of influenced me, you know, something to grab you on that splash page. So it's not only the cover, it's like when on the stands, you would open it up and you'd want an exciting splash page. And I know DC back in the Silver Age, they would often mimic the cover, or the cover would mimic the splash page. Not so much anymore.
Yeah. No, one of the textbooks I use is the DC Comics Guide to Writing Comics, which is by Denny O'Neil, and he has some really nice stuff in there about splash pages and how they need to be that hook. You know, when the reader turns a page, they need to have that hook right there to get them into, you know, to say this is something I need to read.
I imagine you talk a lot about pacing of comics and how they're written.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do. What kind of beats do you try and hit in a single issue? And if it's continued, does it change any?
Yeah, I think it does. We of course the program focuses a lot on, you know, the 3-act structure. It's pretty common for film and all that kind of stuff. So
tell us the 3-act structure, just for people who wouldn't know.
Well, in the in high school, you just called it beginning, middle, and end.
Okay, you got the setup.
Yeah. So what I call it in the class, because I'm drawing a blank now on what somebody else calls it. I call it goal. Act 1 is the goal. Act 2 is the conflict, and Act 3 is the resolution. Right?
Is the resolution right? Yeah.
So we focus on because a lot of them. A lot of the students read a lot of manga, and manga has a different structure than Western literature, right? They have
Okay.
really, really long first acts. That's why, some audiences, people like me, I have a hard time with manga because it takes way too long to develop story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is one of the things we talk a lot about at the first act. In that first act, you have to establish the setting. We learned this all the way back in high school. Where are you at? When are you at? Who are these people? So who's the protagonist? And then what do they want? Now, because it's a comic book, that what do they want has to be a visual thing, right? Because we have to be able to see when the protagonist accomplishes their thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get away with like one of the things I love about Huckleberry Finn, one of my all-time favorite novels, it is that his goal is not necessarily visual, but that's okay because it's a novel. You're not looking at pictures, you're reading the words. So there are some differences that I try to explain to them. You can do things in a novel. A comic book is different. We do things differently in a comic. So I let them know if they haven't done those things, then their first act isn't over yet. And so a lot of times I find them, middle through their script, because I make them write short scripts, middle way through the script, and we haven't even finished the first act yet. And they're like, yeah, but my first act ended on page 3. I'm like, no. You put end act 1, but your act didn't actually end because I still don't know who the protagonist is, and I still don't know what that protagonist wants. And they're like, well, I got to shrink all that down. I'm like, yes, you do. So because what we want to see as the audience, we want to see that protagonist attempting to accomplish that goal. Whatever that goal is, that's your act 2. As they attempt to accomplish, they might try and fail, try and succeed, right? That's kind of what we do. It's usually in 3s, right? Try, fail, try, succeed. Yeah,
does
so
a
that's
cutaway? Does a cutaway? Because I know there's sub stories too, like with the X-Men.
Yeah,
Chris Claremont might have had a sub story going
yep.
on a build up for an issue down the road that might not even be the next issue. So
yeah,
how does that affect pacing when you're kind of putting in you're building up to a second story, which may be the lead story in a later issue?
Yeah. And yeah, we talk about, in fact, the textbook has a great section in there on, B stories and C stories, things like that, how you work those in. Obviously you don't want to put any of that in your first act, because your first act is when you're building your primary story. But once you get into your first act, part of what you can do is use these B and C stories as breaks, right? To let the reader catch their breath from, here, I'm focusing on my main story. Let's take a little break. Here's a page or 2 on my B story. Now back to the A story, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, we talk about that and how they can lead that up to the next, or build that for the next issue. And I absolutely mentioned Chris Claremont and the X-Men.
Yeah. I think
he was great at that.
That was awesome. And then Jim Shooter that just passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really, he was underappreciated by me.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Sure, because he started when he was like 12, 13, 14 years old, writing Legion. And one of the very first books I read had a reprint, those big 60-pager, sort of had a lot of reprint material, and Kurt Swan was drawing it. So it was wonderful, first experience with the Legion. And he created a lot of the Legionnaire characters early on.
If you haven't read his blog, I highly encourage you to just go start at the very beginning and read his blog, because he's got a lot of behind the scenes stuff at Marvel, which is good. But then there's a lot of stuff on storytelling. And he doesn't just come out, like when the DC's New 52 came out, he blasted it. But he didn't just come out and say, "Oh, the DC's New 52 is terrible." He took an issue, I think it was Batgirl, I can't remember, and he broke it apart panel by panel and told you why these things didn't work. And really good blog that I highly recommend.
I was saying yesterday, Roland, that Marvel and DC needs to get their act together. If they could get past, now that Dan DiDio and Costata are gone and they're no longer squabbling, because the last mashup we got was what George Perez wanted and started to do back in the 70s, which was the Avengers meet the Justice League. That was the last mashup. We had Amalgamated comics come out, and all the Treasury editions.
Yeah.
Before then, I think I've seen Alex Ross do and Dan Jurgens, I think it was Dan Jurgens, did a Superman Fantastic Four, maybe with Galactus in there, Treasury edition that come out a few years ago. But you don't see that anymore. We actually, it wasn't that we got a lot of that, but we did get the X-Men, the Walt Simonson issue, New Teen Titans, which was great because New Teen Titans was one of the best things by Marv Wolfman and George Perez at the time. And George Perez, his artwork always drew me, kind of like you were talking about Paul's work.
Yeah.
His stuff drew me to Demon Tales. I said, oh, this is good. He's kind of got a John Byrne look. I don't know. Right. He's got a more rounded, organic feel, There's certain artists that I kind of group together,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I loved his.
They have the same kind of DNA.
Yeah. Yeah. And who knows what their influences were. I think some of the greatest writers and artists are first fans. They first discovered it in a Rexall drugstore or, a grocery store somewhere, while drinking a malt, a milkshake or something, and eating a hamburger maybe. And I know John Byrne's a fan, and it was probably his dream job to get on Fantastic Four, and then all the titles probably held something for him, but I bet that was special because his very first comic was Fantastic Four #5, probably with the best inker over Jack Kirby, which was Joe Sennett. And then he wouldn't do it for years after that. That was just one early fill-in issue that he did. And it was the first appearance of Dr. Doom. So that was enough to hook a young Canadian boy up in Canada, to become one of the greatest artists in comics, I think. Not many people could do like 4 titles a month.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
I forget, Roland, were you primarily a Marvel guy, a DC guy, or what?
No, I was a Marvel zombie.
Okay. I was a Marvel zombie.
I was. I almost read no DC books until Crisis.
Well, you know what? One thing that helped me with that was the little digest size ones that they came out with. That had a lot of reprint material. You can probably learn from a lot of reprint. That's why I'm kind of excited about the Silverline store that you put up. I said, man, if you got a backlog of stuff like that, you need to keep it out there. You need to. I think it was Kirkman that did, speaking of zombies, that said, always keep your work out there in some form or fashion, trade paperback or whatever. Right. Do you ever think you'll do an omnibus or a trade paperback with some of this stuff?
Absolutely.
Especially some of the longer runs. Yeah, because you still have the rights to Cat and Mouse.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I'm working on an omnibus for the first volume of Cat and Mouse as we speak.
Not many people really go back to Air Cell Comics. That was the 80s began. The comics were really in a glut. Jim Shooter was over at Marvel trying to get them to get all their books out on time.
Yeah.
And so, but the early 80s, when the direct market was starting, it was kind of soft. There was, with comics, they were in a glut. And then I think Ninja Turtles and some of the other black and white, you had the big boom, and then the Image came along, and then it fell out again. So it kind of cycles, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. Well, I often tell people that while I wasn't really a Turtles fan, I am eternally thankful to the Turtles because they're there was 84, I think.
83, Turtles, I think.
83, okay. Well, they kind of led that. They kind of spearheaded that black and white indie boom, and probably if it hadn't have been for the Turtles, I might not have been able to do Cat and Mouse and some of the early stuff that I did in the late 80s, right? So,
right. I was gonna mention, did you and Shadowhawk had a question too? Did you get to work with Dale Keown, because he started out at Air Cell?
Yeah, he did. No, I did not. I met him, great guy, but I did not get to work with him.
Oh,
No.
you met him back then when he was a young,
Yeah.
long-haired hippie?
Yeah, I met him at one of the shows. I can't remember which one.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But yeah.
Now, how did you come upon to work with Aircel? Aircel had color covers, sometimes hand colored, but it was all either black and white or black and white and gray tone, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the funny story, because I didn't know much about Aircel, to be honest with you. In fact, we submitted Cat and Mouse to Eternity, and I didn't know that Eternity, Aircel, and Adventure were all owned by Malibu. I didn't know that at the time. So
did you publish through Eternity?
Well, see now, Demon Cells was Adventure, wasn't it?
Yeah, Adventure.
I think I did something through Eternity, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
But Eternity had, it had a bigger name, bigger recognition. So we submitted the work to Eternity. Well, Malibu told us that we could. They said we can put you under the Eternity label, but we think we'll get about 1,000 to 1,500 more orders if we go through Aircel. And so we said, okay, do Aircel. So you can get us more orders. Yeah, go through Aircel.
Wow.
And that's how we ended up with Aircel.
Yeah, Aircel was kind of hot there for a minute with some of their titles, aren't they?
And they had Barry Blair did a lot of the what was it? The elf stuff he did. I can't remember.
Elf Lord.
Yeah, Elf Lord. Yep. Yep. So
yeah, and you had Dragon Ring. That's where I first saw. Although I'm told that Samurai was the first thing that came out by Del Keown, but now I remember him doing some issues of a young Del Keown doing Dragon Ring, another title of theirs.
Yeah.
A lot of these comics are forgotten today. Do you think it'll come back around? Should people collect Aircel and some of these other stuff like your old Cat and Mouse issues? You think if you can find them?
I think so. Not necessarily, my Cat and Mouse issues, but I think the 80s content, I think there's a lot of 80s stuff that's very good that you can find in the cheap boxes for the most part. And I highly recommend it. In fact, that's what my buying habits have been lately. Like for instance, I didn't buy John Sable back then. I'm trying to complete me a run of John Sable. I didn't buy Whisper. I'm trying to complete me a run of Whisper. I knew about them.
Oh, Whisper! I try and collect all those. That's very cool. Yeah,
I am now because I didn't back then.
Whisper is one of those few that started out with Capital Comics, her first appearances, and then went to First Comics, wasn't it? First. And First Comics is still publishing today. They don't do much, but they're still out there. And kind of like Nexus. Nexus started its first 3 issues at Capital and then went to First Comics.
Yeah.
What?
He's just laughing. He's falling asleep on us.
Don't fall asleep on us.
I'm trying not to, but when I don't talk for a bit and it's getting late for me, it's dozing time.
He's over there in the UK. It's coming up on midnight for him there. You want to tell us your story about people were wondering about your kitchen because you're having your kitchen remodeled.
Yes,
I did want you to kind of tell a little bit about the story about your spinner rack because you went through Diamond and had difficulty getting that.
Yeah, well, last September it would be, I fancied getting hold of a spinner rack, so I tried contacting various sources in the UK and didn't get anywhere for 2-3 months. So then I managed to find a comic shop who said they could get one about probably 25 miles away from where I live. So he said he could source one from Diamond's UK. So he contacted them and they didn't have any. So then they said they could source one from Diamond US. And that was back in December last year.
Right.
So they they tried to source one from Diamond US, and then, as you know, they went into liquidation back in January, February this year.
Right.
So that threw another spanner in the works. So
the one you did get was brand new, though, right? It wasn't
yes,
used.
it was. It was brand
Okay.
new, absolutely
Brand new in the
new.
box.
Yeah. Brand new, all made, all put together, apart from the bit that sits on the spindle at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So it was all put together. You didn't have to put it together. Is it only
Yeah.
2 pieces, or
it was just 2 pieces really.
Okay.
You know, the base, which is on casters, and the pole. So there might have been 3 pieces then. You know, the base, the pole about halfway up, and then the spinner rack sits on it.
And it didn't have a header. You made your own header, right?
Well, I'm still sorting that one out. I haven't got it quite yet, but I'm hoping to have it in a bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was back in February, March. So I kept contacting this guy to see if he'd any news, and no news. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I got a phone call saying that he'd finally managed to get one for me.
At this point, Dave, I don't see how Diamond is going to recover. Actually, I mean, they've lost some of their biggest contracts. Haven't they, Roland? Haven't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have.
I mean, Marvel and DC.
I must admit, I was very surprised to hear about Diamond US, because we have a Diamond UK version over here, which is obviously part of the same group. Obviously,
are they not having the same financial problems that?
No, not to my knowledge. I don't know much about it over here, but I think it's kind of a separate entity, even though they're linked to them.
Okay.
Yeah, if you know what I mean by that.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, I'd by about March, April, I'd kind of given up on ever getting a spinner right.
Yeah.
I really had. And then out of the blue, this guy from the shop contacted me, sent me some photos that this guy had sent him from the warehouse, you know, of the spinner rack. So he said, "Are you happy with that?" I says, "Yeah." I says, "It looks all right. It's 11 pockets high, by the way. You know, so that's like 44 pockets. So it's quite a tall one, to be fair. I've seen a shorter version than the one I've got, but I quite prefer mine because it's really nice height."
Does it squeak?
Not yet, but it probably will.
When you turn it, yeah. I mean, they were always squeaked.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day,
they
back
needed
in the
oil.
70s. Oh yeah, back in the 70s, I used to go in a lot of news agents local to me, and the number of times they wobbled, they squeaked, they got stuck, they wouldn't even turn. Sometimes you had to walk round the spinner rack rather than spin it. So. Yeah, but anyway, like I say, I got contacted by this guy who'd managed to source me one, and he said, well, he had some good news for me, actually, because I initially paid a £200 deposit, and he said it'd be about, I think at that time, well, last year anyway, he said I'd probably be looking at about, you know, £700.
Yeah, Roland, you're looking at a madman here. He wanted a spinner rack.
Well,
he wanted a spinner rack so bad he was willing to pay over £700 for one. It didn't work out that way. You got a deal. You got a deal.
Just before I say anything else, just ignore the comment by Glenn Fleming, please.
Right. No, Glenn knows. I'm not gonna, you know.
He would say that. He would say that.
I would like to have one too, but that's a lot of money.
Well,
yeah. Well, anyway, so the good news.
Go ahead.
So the good news was, at the end of the day, I got my spinner rack. I got it for the price that I paid just the deposit for.
Right.
He said,
you got a deal on it.
Yeah, I think I did. And he actually said to me, he says, "I'm not making a penny on this." You know, nice. for himself, you know, like his own cut. You know, seeing he was trying to source one on my behalf.
Well, I'm glad they made it right with you. You know, something else. Something else, Dave, here in the States and Roland, they have these type of stands that are DC's putting out.
That blue one behind you.
I got the blue one there. Yeah, I've got some golden age type stuff back here and other stuff.
Yeah.
That
I've seen some of those
yesterday.
I've seen something similar to that in one or two of the comic shops in Manchester and Liverpool, to be fair.
Well, I mean, if you see comics out in the wild beyond an Archie Digest, like at checkout at a grocery store, you're doing well, because I can't, they don't have comics anywhere on the stands hardly anymore, but I know DC is probably doing some of their overages with this. I know they were reprinting some of their 2011, 2017, 16, and 17 stuff. And now they're even doing more recent stuff from what pictures I've seen, even from like 5-6 years ago. So I think that's a good thing, that whether it's a reprint or not, it may be the very first comic someone sees. I know some of the early ones that I got were reprints.
Well,
and
you had asked me earlier about free stuff, and that's one of the things I got up to get.
Oh, promo books, yeah.
This is totally all a newsprint, and we printed it in such a way that we could fold it over in half.
And mail it.
And mail it out. Yep. And we had you could order our back issues then, but it's just all newsprint. We printed this. I would take these to comic conventions and give them out. But it also
is it just folded or is it stapled?
No, it's stapled. It's
okay. It is stapled. Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing over there in the UK. They've got stuff like that that's just folded with no staples.
That's right.
Like a newspaper, I guess, huh?
Yeah, like a newspaper, which is amazing to me.
What a lot of people don't realize is that we had Warren Ellis lined up to do a book for us a long time ago.
Wow.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen, but yeah, it was going to be pretty cool.
That's one thing about crowdfunding, or what we're doing in crowdfunding, Roland, is that we really, really have to rethink how to do a cliffhanger, don't we? Because we're not on a monthly basis or a bi-monthly or even a quarterly.
Right. I mean, if you've read any of my stuff, you know that I love cliffhangers. If I'm telling a 4-issue miniseries, issue 1's got a cliffhanger, issue 2's got a cliffhanger, and issue 3's got a cliffhanger. 4 will wrap it up. But,
I mean, basically comics, I equate them to like a soap opera. Is that a fair analogy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that a lot of that started certainly in the 1970s when soap operas were incredibly popular on television as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I still remember in General Hospital, which went into the 80s. Of Luke and Laura getting married, that had big ratings. And then actually, if you think about Knox Landing, Dallas, other shows like that, were even in prime time in the 80s.
Yep. Yeah.
So soap operas did kind of flare up that way. And
they really did.
Soap operas are one of the oldest things out there, starting on radio before there was TV. So some of these soap operas go back 90-something years. It's some of the oldest TV out there.
Yeah.
And the reason they call them soap operas is they wanted to sell soap, didn't they? To like the lady of the house. And give them something to watch during the dead hours of the day.
I don't know if that's true, but it sounds just believable enough that I'd believe you.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. You would have commercials targeted, kind of like on Saturday morning, you had breakfast cereals and candy and other things like that,
all for kids.
Yeah.
You were talking about Mad earlier on, weren't you?
Have you got a Bible somewhere? Not a literal Bible, but do you have a Silverline Bible that everything that you publish through who?
I don't, but I need to do that.
It'd be cool just to have a list of that to see how much you had done over the years.
Yeah.
Because you published with a lot of publishers.
I did, yeah. Because I started off as a packager,
Okay.
and that's what we would do is that that I would put together. That's how I became an editor. Actually, is that I was writing, but then I met people, and I began to put them together, and then move those to publishers.
Well, you edited through for Malibu. Did you actually publish anything through Malibu
as a publisher?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
I did before I became an editor with them. Yes,
before you became an editor, and then you were kind of busy. Yeah,
yeah,
because you're doing their full line at that time, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I know I did. There's a book called Marauder that we did for Eternity. There was a book called The Mantis Files.
Oh, dang.
Which
Mantis
look at that. Mad Magazine.
There you go.
Yeah. You were saying, Roland, you like Mad, Cracked, all those.
I love that
books.
stuff.
Yeah.
What was that?
I love the back covers where you would fold them together and make a bigger image.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
right. Mad fold.
Okay. So they've actually got that on the inside back cover. Wow. On the inside.
Yeah. They do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were a lot of fun, especially with.
Well, this issue was published in 2022.
2022. Okay. I think Mad's actually ended, and then they started a second Mad that ran for a little while. And I know they still come out with specials and reprints.
Yeah.
Oh, little riff on Poltergeist there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are these?
More recent Mads that's come out, right?
Yeah, I think the reprints, like you said before.
Oh,
Hellfraiser.
Okay.
Hellfraiser.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
I'll show you the fold. I'll show you there's a fold out in this one. There should be. Here we go. I know you like the foldings. There you go. I'm not going to fold it. I'm just showing you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It didn't do great for your magazines, but it was a fun little thing.
Well, unless you bought 2 issues of the same issue.
Yeah, I never did that. I wasn't that devoted. I was good to get one. 70 years of dumb. Yeah. I mean, Mad Magazine really kind of kept, it came out, I guess, right after EC Comics, right? There's your friend Mark Largent in there.
This one's actually
what's up, Mark?
This one's got a fold-out cover.
Oh, that's neat. I kind of have to do this. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling to the streams of swollen. Keep them doggies rolling, rawhide.
And a jumbo Mad fold in there.
Wow.
Yeah. Little known fact about me and Mark is we briefly went in business together.
You did? Okay.
Yep. I don't remember the exact amount of time. Mark might remember it, but I want to say 6 months, maybe. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of business did you go into?
It was going to be an advertising agency.
Okay.
Yeah, we were part of an incubator program there at the university. We had offices or an office. I think we probably, and Mark may see it a little differently. I think we probably needed a third person. I kind of had in mind, I don't know exactly what they're called, but I kind of had in mind being one of the creative conceptualizers, right? With Mark doing a lot of the design work and that kind of stuff. We needed someone to sell, and neither Mark or I were really in. I don't know that either one of us wanted to, but I don't know that. We did some websites. That's how we qualified as a tech company. Yeah, because we were in the tech. It was a tech incubator. But
Good
I think
thing I didn't buy stock in that.
Yeah, no kidding. But I think if we'd have had someone to that was like an aggressive salesperson for us, we might have lasted a little bit longer. But I don't think Mark will be insulted by this. But Mark's a creative introvert. He wants to be doing, like a lot of creators are. He wants to be in doing the creative work.
Right. He's more outgoing than a lot of creators.
Well, he's certainly he's outgoing when he talks about, I think a lot of creators are the same way. He's outgoing when he talks about his thing, right? The thing that he's passionate about. And I find that that's the same way for me. If you get me talking about comic books, I can be outgoing and talk about that. But, outside of that and maybe college football, I don't get.
You're not in your zone with anything
right.
else.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but it was fun. We remained friends. That was the important thing, I think. I think we had, or at least I had, a lot of good experiences with it. Some good learning. And of course, Mark's a good guy. So, I couldn't have asked for a better partner to try that with.
Big fan. Apex Comics says Malibu and Ultraverse. I enjoyed the Protectors and Ultra Force.
Yeah, Protectors was a lot of fun.
With characters like Gravestone and Man of War. Yeah. I read all your stuff back then too.
Well, I fought the cancellation as hard as I could for those books, but ultimately Malibu said that they weren't going to be spending any money on the on the Protectors because of the Ultraverse.
Now you had a Force Beam, I believe it was called, issue where it was die cut all the way through. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so often referred to as the bullet hole issue, Protectors number 5 has a bullet hole drilled all the way through it.
Yeah.
And so you can find that one in the cheap boxes. You can still find some of them still in bags. They've got a hole drilled all the way through it. Yep. Yeah. Sure was.
Yeah. Now that was kind of like the age of trick covers, don't you think? And was that like an attempt to kind of do that for Malibu? Because you had the Ferret die cut cover as well.
Yeah, completely die cut all the way. It was in
Neil Adams did that with Crazy Man #1, but now I think you were first to do it, weren't you?
We were first. As far as I know, Malibu was the first to do a hologram cover as well. Now it was on the very first one we did was a tiny little square on the cover of I want to say Necroscope #1, maybe. It was just a tiny little square on the front cover that was just kind of glued on the front cover. But then as they worked with that printer more and more, the printer began to say, hey, we can do this, we can do that. And then we ended up doing the hologram covers for the Ultraverse. But your Aquaman type character, the Thresher. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Thresher, but he had a great design. He was only on one cover and he was laying flat on his back, defeated, with his back turned to you. That was his only cover defeated on like issue 17 or something of Protectors or something.
Yeah.
Where a lot of them were defeated, but that was his only cover appearance. His first appearance was really in Malibu Press, or what was your Malibu book on Malibu? Malibu Sun, yes. That's where, and he made his first, it was an article talking and had a picture of the Thresher because I have that Malibu Sun. Talking about his upcoming appearance in Airman #1, which was a public domain character. I didn't even know that Airman was a public domain character at that time.
Yeah. Airman was the first book that I edited when I got to Malibu.
It was okay.
It was actually it was actually almost done. And so the editor-in-chief said, hey, this book's practically done. I need you to go ahead and get it out the door and get it finished. That was the first thing they turned over to me. So,
well, now who? I mean, a lot of those were all those characters public domain. I know there were a few, like Man of War, Airman, there were a lot of public domain protectors, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like Gravestone was based off of Phantom Man, but it was changed to be Gravestone. So yeah, Ari Jones is the guy who did all the research on the old Centaur characters, and then we got the Jerry Bingham to do new character designs.
Oh yeah, I think Jerry. Now maybe I'm mistaken. I thought he was born in Arkansas or had some.
No, he's not born in Arkansas, but he lives there now.
Oh, he lives there now. Okay,
yes.
So
yeah.
We need to get Jerry on here. Guy. You know, a lot of people would probably like to talk. I remember him doing Black Panther work for Marvel back in the day. Yeah. And I think he did one of the early issues of Marvel 2-in-1. One of those few that Ron Wilson didn't get to do because Ron Wilson did most of those, you know.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a 2-in-1 or team up. I know he did some team ups.
He did primarily the 100 issues of 2-in-1 with the Thing, and then team up would have been with Spider-Man. Now sometimes they did crossover stories with those. The first one that I actually bought had a continuation in the other title, and so I got introduced to both titles through that. So I think that's pretty cool if you got two titles that you can swap, like Batman 66 with Adam West. They had one episode where Green Hornet and Kato, Bruce Lee, came in, and then Green Hornet had an episode where Batman and Robin conclude. So it kind of pushed both shows on TV. I think that's cool when you have multiple titles and you can kind of promote through that, can't you?
Yeah, I agree. I think so. And like you, that's the way I got introduced into a handful of Marvel comics, because they continued from one to the other.
Mm-hmm. But now, one thing that we've complained about here is like DC did, I think that has the record for No Man's Land, which was a law that ran for years with Batman, this story. All these crossovers, and a lot of the books don't really have anything that much to do with the crossover. You know, I think there is something like buyer's fatigue. Even if you buy a lot of comics, unless you're independently wealthy, that's a lot of money. And it's especially a lot of money now, Roland.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's one thing we're fighting. I think that it's great that some of these old models, like maybe Diamond's falling apart on shaking crowd, because I think crowdfunding's always been there, but I think it's become more prominent, and it does help you know your readership really and get that core group, and sell directly, almost like mail order, except a little bit more. So I'm glad we have that to go back on, because I think a lot of the comic models was kind of like the old 30s sweatshop model. I mean. Creators didn't get their old artwork back till sort of Neil Adams and others championed it in the 70s.
Tail in the Way Rex.
Early 80s. Yeah. I see Maya's there. Hello, Maya. Always trying to swish you along, Dave.
I know. She's trying to tell me something like it's supper time.
Feed me, Seymour. Feed me.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
All right, Dave. Well, we'll let you go feed Maya, and maybe see you next week, and you can tell us all about your kitchen.
Yeah, I will tell you. There's more to tell. All I'm going to say is, can you believe they started it on the 23rd of May?
Well, I mean, if it's a major redo, it can take that long.
But there's been problems, you might have guessed.
Yeah.
I will say cool looking bookshelves too.
And a lot of dust.
Cool looking bookshelves.
Yeah, thank you. You can't see it normally because I had to put a lot of stuff behind me that's normally elsewhere in my house. So I'm hoping that once my kitchen is finally finished, a lot of what you see behind you in the way of the bookshelves will be gone.
Dave, can you show Roland a little bit more? Take the camera and kind of pan over to the other wall. Because you have not seen anything yet, Roland. This guy's a super collector.
Nice.
about-
Wow. Look at all those trades.
omnibuses. And, yeah. Look at all those
about that?
omnibuses up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? There you go.
He's a big Thunderbirds rather fan too.
Okay. Yeah.
He grew
If
up.
if I turn it back round, hang on,
And
I
one of
can't
the few
move.
men to
Is
actually
that just
watch
stacks of
all
comics
the
there?
episodes of Doctor Who.
Can you see that?
That's
see a
custom
rocket.
made there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Custom made rocket he had
Oh,
made
okay. Yeah.
recently
Hang on.
from the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
And he's got an actual rocket, and he's got a custom made rocket.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he's actually got a vintage rocket that he paid about £200 for. But
Yeah.
he also had one custom made for him.
And that's
So
quite
big
tall.
Thunderbird
It's
fan.
probably about, you saw it's quite tall.
Now, is that just stacks of comic books over there?
Which way?
To your right elbow?
Hang on. This one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
your right elbow.
Oh, you mean
Right.
on, no, that's books. Books and magazines.
Yeah.
Magazines. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you hear the
and-
Scottish coming out? Because he was born in
Yeah.
Scotland.
I was,
Well, I
trying
was.
to trying to decide what was all stacked up right there that I couldn't.
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. The ones that are flat up
Yeah.
there, they're magazines and
Okay.
books below. Yeah.
I can tell the books, but I was like, "What's that flat there?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the other wall, he's got short boxes full of comics.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've even got some figures right up behind me on the top shelves.
Yep.
So hopefully it'll look a bit tidier than this in the next, fingers crossed, before the end of July.
Well, it is the 22nd, so it's not very far.
Well, let's just say they've been on my kitchen now for 2 months. 2 months.
Wow. Yeah. You learned nothing from the spinner rack, did you?
What's that?
Had to wait for months to get that spinner
Yeah,
rack. I
well-
mean, 8 months to get that spinner rack.
I
months.
must admit, that spinner rack, I did not think I was going
They
to
were
get.
drawing interest on your money, Dave. They
Wow.
had your money so long.
Well, yeah, but the only person that, well, like I say, nobody gained on it, because the guy who managed to finally source one for me,
Mhm.
that's how much it was. It was £200, and he didn't make a penny on it.
Mm.
Apart from buying it, and I paid him, obviously, but
Yeah.
that was it, really.
You
So
make a profit.
no,
Dave,
he
where
didn't.
can people find you? Because you're on, every Tuesday with us when you can make it.
Yeah.
But now you're also over there on Pops' Madness Network doing the show offs. Still,
Yeah, we're doing a slightly different show now. We're not actually doing the show-offs anymore. It's called.
Okay.
It's called. I think it's called. We've only done a couple of shows of this new one. I think it's called Comics Across the Pond.
Cool.
Comics Across the Pond. Okay.
So
All right.
basically, we pick an issue and then we talk through it. Not every panel, but various panels. We'll just make comments as we go along, looking through one issue of one title.
Kind of breaking it down. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of just breaking it down, discussing what's going on in that panel, and having a hopefully 2, 3, possibly 4-way conversation, depending on if anybody else joins us on the show. Plus
Roland,
we've got,
I want to talk about this here. You have a
Okay.
very successful campaign here. Tell us about Silverline Team Up.
Well, now that one's closed. That was over. But yeah,
okay.
but we are working on issue 3 of that one. The 1 and 2 of that one is out. Do I have any of those behind me? Oh yeah. So I've got issues 1 and 2 here. 1 and 2 here.
that reminds me of Marvel Team Up.
It's meant to remind you of Marvel Team Up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, is Champion just a character, or because Champion was also the Champions was a group with
Correct.
Flair in other sort of role playing characters, right?
Right. Yeah. This champion is he's just a character here. Actually, he debuted in Cat and Mouse number 2, I think. It might have been 3.
He kind of reminds me of the Man of Bronze, Doc Savage.
A little bit. Yeah.
With that bare chest of his, you know.
Yeah, a little bit. The kind of influence in there. But he's been seen a little bit in different stories. He was seen in Cat and Mouse for a little bit. His first appearance was in the first, like I said, it's either 2 or 3 of Cat and Mouse. I can't remember. And then we saw him again around issue 16 to 17. And then we saw him later in the Silver Storm miniseries. And then we didn't see him again until now. No, that's not true. We saw him in the Demon's Tales. He was in Demon's Tales.
Okay.
But then we didn't see him again until now. And I'll let you in on a secret. One of the things that I'm doing with some of these characters is I am because this is set in the world of Cat and Mouse.
Okay.
So I am working to I'm leading the way to start us up a little team down in New Orleans.
Okay. Now, Cat and Mouse is kind of like 2 characters, a male, female character, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That are, would you say, like espionage, spy? What?
I like.
How would you describe Cat and Mouse?
I like to call it superhero, street level superheroes, right? Those are the characters, Cat and Mouse. They do not have superpowers. Mm-hmm. They are, like I said, street level. In this particular iteration of them, they're tackling human trafficking in New Orleans, and she is human trafficked, and that's how the story starts. Is that she has been trafficked, and he ends up helping to free her. And then the 2 of them decide that they want to battle human trafficking in New Orleans. And that's kind of what the whole premise of the series is, as the 2 of them do that in New Orleans.
Now, you're a writer and an editor, but now do you kind of design rough and show it to your artist when you have a new character? Or do you leave that totally up to the artist?
So
the look of the character.
If I have a new character, sometimes I have a concept as to what I want. So I will give them, I don't usually give them a drawing, but I will often give them a very good, Cat and Mouse, street level martial arts crime fighters. That's perfect. I will give them a very detailed description of what I want. Mm-hmm. And then part of that is because I don't want an image to influence an artist. I want my words to influence the artist,
Have you always done it that way, or have you doodled out, and kind of back in the day, or what?
Pretty much always done it that way. Now, there's a couple of Demon was actually doodled out because I couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain him accurately to anyone for them to get it right. Mm-hmm. So I doodled him out.
Now, who first worked on Demon? Was it Paul or was it somebody else?
Mitch Bird for the first series of Cat and Mouse. He's not the actual first artist. One of the first artists to work on it was a fellow by the name of Roland Paris, who was an inker, and he just did a drawing for me. And then Mitch Bird is the guy who kind of brought him to life in Cat and Mouse. And then Paul really infused him with what makes him who he is, I think. Paul Pelletier.
I've been told there's a difference between inkers and embellishers.
There is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But can you explain the difference?
Yeah. So, the difference has to go back to the penciler, right? So you have some pencilers who pencil really tight pencils. And so if you look at them, there's not a whole lot of guesswork to it. And then there's the pencilers who draw very sketchy, right? So the difference might be the head is a clear line for a tight penciler, where the head might just kind of be a couple circles, and then you get the eyes and stuff like that. An embellisher is one that has to take that sketchy work and be able to pick out the lines and kind of draw on top of the sketch work.
Yeah.
An inker,
so more of them actually comes through the work.
Yes,
they're working from layouts that different from full pencils.
Yes.
Work.
And if you want to get a good idea, go to the Google sometime and look up. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Bless you.
And Google John Buscema pencil art.
Mm-hmm.
And some of his pages will come up, and they're very, very sketchy.
I've got one or two of his books, actually, Roland.
One of his art books?
Yeah, one or two of his art books where he's done like a pencil, then a bit more on it, on the next page too, as a comparison.
He is
in fact, with Glenn Fleming, that's going to be my next book, Roland, is the unseen artwork of John Buscema, if it works out.
I'm in with that.
Yeah, it's work that's never been published before. That.
Anyway, I'm just going to jump in and say bye to everybody because I will have to go. But it's been nice chatting to you, Rex, as always, and Roland.
Good to see you, Dave. Good to see
you.
And, hopefully, I'll see you again. So
sounds good.
I hope so. Don't fall down the stairs.
Oh, don't worry. I'll tell you about that one, Roland, next time.
Yeah. Okay.
See you later.
I'm glad to hear that about Glenn because Tom Palmer embellishes a lot of Buscema's pages because I need him to talk about somebody other than Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, not another Jack Kirby story. I like Glenn, but so if he's still listening.
Apex wanted to know what Mitch Bird, have you kept up with what he's doing nowadays?
I have not kept up with what Mitch is doing. I will say this. I think Mitch was one of our day's all-time best storytellers. You may or may not like the style of his art, but he had a fantastic camera eye. He was just a great storyteller. In anything
that's what I see in these layouts. I've had like Conan layout, sort of Conan laid out pages. And what he would do is they were actually larger than 11 by 17. They're actually pretty big. And he would lay out the angles and the sketch. And I mean, I've got a new appreciation for Buscema. I know that he did How to Draw the Marvel Way with Stan Lee, but wow, when you see some of these layouts and just in what he captures in just a few gestorial lines, the different angles, he captures everything. And then he would put that on a light box. And then he would do the page. And sometimes they would flip or flop a panel, and had the character. He'd do little notations like flop this image. And then you would see it in the actual magazine and it would be flopped and headed the other way. But for the most part, he laid everything out just very loose on these pages. And then that's how he worked for a while. I don't know how long, but in like the late 80s, early 90s, that's how he was doing some of those last issues of Savage Sword of Conan. So it's a lesson all in itself to look at those and see just the different angles and just the how he captured some of that stuff in just a few lines.
Yeah.
He definitely the master, you can tell he was a master illustrator and storyteller.
Yeah. The last I heard of Mitch, I reached out to him about 15 years ago and asked him if he wanted to do a project with me. And we talked a little bit about it, like just a couple of emails. And then he just said that it wasn't for him. And so I really haven't spoken to him since then. The only thing that I can tell you, the only additional thing I can tell you is that he is still living on the Mississippi Gulf Coast down in Biloxi. So I think if you visit the independent comic shop down there, 3 Alarm Comics, I think they can update you a lot on what Mitch is doing.
When somebody asks you in class, well, what's the future of comics? What do you tell them?
Well, I tell them, I don't know. If I knew, I would be a rich man because that would mean that I was a prognosticator, right?
Right.
But I would tell them what I think is that we have all this digital stuff right now, and everyone is still trying to figure out how to make digital work. No one has figured out how to make digital make money. I know there's webtoons. Silverline, we have our books on global comics, and I got an email yesterday that I had made 12 cents on a book on global comics. 12 whole cents, right?
Yeah.
And that's part
People
of the
like
problem.
physical copies, don't they?
People like physical. Well, it's the famous Stan Lee quote. Comics are like boobs. They're nice to look at, but you want to hold them in your hands.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think part of the problem is that we are in a digital age, and people are still trying to figure out how to make digital work. And I don't know. Again, I like global comics. I don't know that's the answer. I don't know that it's not the answer. The thing I do know is that we haven't figured it out yet. And I think if we can ever kind of figure out how to use and utilize the digital medium, that we'll see a revolution in comics.
You keep working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a physical media, for a lot of collectors. And I think the digital sales, it's good to offer. And what I see, one advantage is, like on a campaign, you can put extra added material in that digital copy that you don't print in the physical, which is going to cost you money, right? So I do like that part of it, that you can put additional material in with the digital. And I know that there's a lot of web comics out there as well.
But again, there's very, very, very few of them that make any money. Most of them, unless you're the artist and the writer devoted to it, but people can afford to devote that kind of time and energy to a book that doesn't make any money at all, which is the majority of web comics.
And so how often will you be adding to this? Your online?
Well, the idea is that we'll add something every month as a new book comes out.
Okay.
And see, are we up to date there? It looks like we are pretty much up to date.
Okay.
So
because you got a lot to offer over here on your
I see a mistake.
You see a mistake? Good.
Yeah, I'm not going to point it out, but I see a mistake.
Well, I've been wanting to back it just to get the poster.
Well, I tell you what, Rex, if you back, I'll tell you this: if you back the Rejects campaign, just drop me a line and I'll include the poster for you.
Okay, now that's a deal. That's a deal. Speaking of your most recent project, the Rejects 1 and 2, and I like that, because I think with crowdfunding, maybe numbers hurt you. Like Rejects 6, okay, but I've already missed 1 through 5,
right?
Even though you might have a catch-up tier, I think numbers kind of hurt. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think about that?
Well, I think you might be right, because, and I think some of the problem is, we've been hurt. Crowdfunding has been hurt by some of these bigger names. Like I told you earlier, we've done 30 something campaigns. We fulfilled all of them on time.
Wow. That many campaigns. Wow. On multiple platforms, right?
On multiple platforms. We've used Kickstarter, we've used Indiegogo, and now we're much all Fund My Comic.
Well, I was looking at a Mike Barron project recently, like Leviathan, and actually Fund My Comic outperformed on that book Indiegogo, I think. And I looked at another campaign, and Fund My Comic was outpacing on Kickstarter what they earned on Kickstarter. So I think you need to try and see what works. As far as platforms are concerned, but Fund My Comic's hard to beat, because they're running only 1%.
Right. Yes.
Right now.
It is hard to beat. Well, and one of the things, this Kickstarter, one of the things I liked about Kickstarter that I don't get at Fund My Comic is they had a lot of good what's the when you get the data analysis of the campaign.
A good breakdown of
Yes, and it told us where all of our backers were coming from. Okay, so what we noticed over the last 2 years, before we made the jump to Fund My Comic, is that hardly any of our backers were coming from Kickstarter. All of our backers were coming from we have a newsletter, a Silverline newsletter that that needs to go out tonight. It goes out about every 2 to 3 weeks. We have a Silverline newsletter, and we have Facebook and other social media. We were driving all of our content there. We weren't getting any content, any backers from Kickstarter, right? So they've got that whole discovery thing and all that kind of stuff. We weren't getting any backers from that. So we just decided, look, if we're driving all the traffic there anyway, why don't we go somewhere else that we can get a bigger piece of the money to keep for ourselves to help us, help us make the money. That's why we ended up making the move to Fund My Comic.
I know I've heard criticism with like Indiegogo where they're like, we're leading people to you, and it's not really happening.
No,
but they charge you for that, and that doesn't happen with Fund My Comic. But the thing with Fund My Comic, and hopefully, some of the bigger creators are now coming over there.
Yeah.
Maybe it will change when they get a 6-figure campaign over there. I don't think you can.
My only fear about that, and this is where I think crowdfunding has been hurt, is that some of these guys come over there and will run a big campaign and then not fulfill the book, or they're late on a book, because
that is hard.
Anytime these guys with names, and I won't use any of them, but anytime these guys with names run a campaign, they make a lot of money, and then 6 months later, people are still looking for the book that was promised and they don't get it. It hurts guys like me because they'll look at me and say, "Oh, well, this guy's asking for $1,000. I don't know who he is. That campaign looks promising, but I'm still waiting on this book over here that this creator promised." And the fact that I've fulfilled 30 campaigns on time doesn't really matter to them.
I think you need to put that on your campaign. That here's a little bit of our history we have fulfilled and continue to fulfill on this kind of basis. How many books are you doing a year?
Well, we're doing a campaign. We're doing about 10 campaigns in a year. So
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. You're blowing my mind.
I've already got the next 2 campaigns ready to go.
Yeah.
So the next one, if I'm not mistaken here, the next one is going to be Cape Town, number 2. Let me make sure.
I would definitely put that in your campaigns, Roland. A little bit of your history of Silverline Comics and how many campaigns you're doing and what's slated. Maybe keeping people informed, I think, in this, is the way to go. And here's a suggestion. I got this from John Malin's Godlike. He sent out a thing with, I got a catch-up tier for his Graveyard Shift 1, 2, and 3. And in that was his little flyer, little promo that he sent with it saying Godlike. That was probably the first Godlike thing he put out with the campaign. Just shipped it with your books. Our next project coming up, maybe even had a Q code. I think that gets people interested, and they know something else is coming down the road, because it is a lot of self-promotion in this.
It is. It is. It really is.
Yeah. So who, with all that on Kickstarter, who did it say your core group was? Just that people that followed you closely anyway?
Yeah, basically. Well, it told us where they come from, right? So it'll said, here's where your backers come from. And then it said, Kickstarter, email newsletter. I agree with him. And then there was Facebook and Twitter and things. It would list where they come from. When they see a link, they go directly to and we weren't getting any from Kickstarter. So we were pushing all the traffic there. So we just decided, let's just go and let's go somewhere where we get to keep the overwhelming majority of our money.
You don't think that would change though? Because Kickstarter is the largest platform for crowdfunding.
It is.
Isn't it?
And we've talked about like maybe going back there and doing another one because we haven't done one there in about 2 years.
Mhm.
But
Just to kind of keep your presence alive over there, maybe.
I don't know that would help us any because like I said, we didn't get any traffic there.
Well, I hear it's a different crowd. They do a lot of variant covers. They like a lot of TNA, stuff.
And that's part of the problem is that we're not. I'm trying to dance around how to say
glamorous
this.
Enough.
We're not. We don't do the booby covers. We don't do a lot of the nudity stuff. We don't do the LGBT stuff. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We just make comic books, and when the books aren't numbered, it's harder to keep track of your books. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why that's part of the reason why I still got a number on there, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I talked about you really have to think about the cliffhanger, how you end your book. You all have to be one and done because we're not on a monthly schedule, not even bi-month.
I love a cliffhanger.
Oh, there you go. Okay. and you like that. You like those sound effects too.
Yes, I do. You see that, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I like that you broke it apart. But am.
Yeah.
am. Yeah.
Yeah. I always like the great big sound effects behind it. There's another.
Now, you as the writer, you write the sound effects for the artist, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There was one. I like when George Perez used to do this. When the sound effect, it's not in this issue. When the sound effect itself is huge, like this, it's the actual panel. Like there's a boom, and then all the artwork is inside the boom. Those are cool.
Yeah, those are really cool when you incorporate that. I also seen logos where they do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got some greats from the past that we all are kind of resting on. We've mentioned some of the greats that have been gone a while now, like Jack Kirby. But is the torch being passed? I mean, you mentioned manga. I mean, a lot of you people read manga, and you said pacing was different. With these long story arcs. Do you think the Japanese have more patience than Americans? Because we're kind of in an instant society here.
We are
in America.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they have more patience than Americans. I mean, think about it this way: how many times has someone told you need to watch this show, or let's just go stick with shows? You need to watch this show, and you watch the first episode, and you go, "Oh, this was crap. I didn't like this episode." And then you go back and they say something to you. Oh, you need to give it till at least episode 4.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Why? Yeah. Why would you give it to episode 4? If episode 1 sucks, I'm not going to watch episode 2 or 3 or 4. But so many people today will tell you, if you don't like episode 1, just wait until episode 4. Well, then why didn't they just start with episode 4? And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of modern storytelling and the fact that we have binge society today, right? Is that you can, a lot of times they'll drop 6 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever. And so you can just sit down and watch all of
I'm binge watching. I can't, some of this stuff, like I've got all 10 seasons of Smallville, but that was kind of like, without not a lot of Superman in that. I mean, there's a lot of Clark Kent. It's more like a Twilight. It's kind of like a soap opera, like we mentioned before. It is enjoyable. I did enjoy it all the way through. Although I think, when you get to later seasons, it, like with everything, it gets a little wonky, but I think fairly solid, through the 10 seasons. But the only reason that I really enjoyed it as much as I did is it came out on disc and I can binge watch it.
Right.
Because I can't imagine waiting a week. And see, I grew up with ABC, NBC, CBS, just like you did. And we had to wait a whole week. And until you hit the summer, there was no repeat of some of the more, oh, good, they're showing the Bionic Man go up against Bigfoot again because that was
Right.
a popular one. You
Yeah.
get to see that again, but sometimes that was exhausting. Oh, I've already seen this. There's
Right.
nothing new on TV. Well, go out and play. That's all you
Right.
heard.
Go outside.
Yeah, go outside and play, do something.
Yeah.
But I was
So
a big TV, watcher.
Yeah.
Because I was out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
I had to, that was my window to the world, Roland.
Yeah.
I'm still out in the middle of nowhere, but we're a little bit more
Right.
connected now.
Yeah. Thanks to the internet. But yeah, I do think that the storytelling is kind of changing, and I think that is kind of affecting. I think people still like comic books, but do they still like them in this format as a floppy? I don't know. Would they rather
now you're
have
going
them...
through Kablam? You're going through Kablam with all your publishing, aren't you?
I use Kablam to print. They print 95% of what we do. I love Kablam. Yeah, they're the ones that did this gorgeous foil cover as well. I really like the foils that they've been doing for us. They're just fantastic.
So tell us a little bit about the rejects.
Yep. So the rejects are. I gave you kind of the little pitch at the top of the hour. But essentially what we've got, it's a team of rejected heroes. These are the heroes that have tried to join the teams elsewhere and have been rejected by them. And so they decide to form a team and to prove that they are just as worthy as the rest of them. And this is kind of their debut, of course, but they want to show the world that even though their powers might be a little silly, their names might be a little silly, they've been rejected by the other teams, they still have value and they still are superheroes that are important to the world. So that's who they are, and like I said, some of the characters that we have here. I don't know how well you can see, but we've got this is Burnside, and he's got these super long sideburns that are that are like Dr. Octopus. I can't see backwards here, but you can see here they're like Dr. Octopus, right? We've got Divinity. She makes a mean batch of candy and flips it at you. That's her projectiles. And then there's Hot Flash right here, who you can see she's trying to conjure up some a bit of flame there. For those women tend to know a little bit about the Hot Flash, and that's kind of the inspiration behind this. And then we have Dr. Steve. He's smarter than everyone else. He's the leader. And then there is Snap-on Man, whose his body is made of interchangeable parts. And then we have See-Through Man, who he turns invisible. And then we have Buckshot here, who is the team leader. And then there is his sidekick, the one-round kid. They will often refer to him as Orc, who is the one-round kid. And I forgot Dart Joan. She has the power to make thunder and rain.
Okay, looks like a little Kirby Crackle there,
Mr.
Terrific.
Yep. Little Kirby Crackle. So this was from the first issue, right? And then of course this is the cover to the second issue where they fight. They end up fighting Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox, who go on a rampage on the city's beaches.
Well, no, this is not your first attempt at humor, is it? Because mainly you do like superhero type stuff. Yeah, I know with Bear, that was kind of. Am I saying that right?
You can say however you want to. Just don't call it beer
or bear.
Bear. I frequently just say bear because that's easier. For
Around
people.
Here, you might have a bear show up, so I don't want to say it too loud.
Yeah, no. My son is on his honeymoon up in Gatlinburg, and they had a bear come to their front door. He said their door was open, and he goes, they looked up and there was a bear there eating a bag of chips that he had stolen out of a car. And he said he yelled at it and slammed the door. And he goes, they looked out the window and the bear took off running.
Homer Glitz had a good comment here. He says it has become very apparent that crowdfunding comics are driven by the creators. They are not driven by the site itself. The only plus a bigger site has to it is advantage that it has potential, to potentially get bigger backers.
And that was what was disappointing to us about Kickstarter is that we had been on Kickstarter for several years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we've run, 30 plus campaigns, and, probably 20 of them, again, I'd have to go back and count, but had been on Kickstarter, and we just weren't getting any love from Kickstarter. And so we're like, well, why are we here when they're just taking our money? They're not pushing anybody to us in any kind of way, And so we like, well, if we're going to push if we're going to be the ones doing all the pushing, let's go somewhere where we can keep a greater percentage of what we raise.
Which is Fund My Comic. I mean, you can't get any lower than 1%.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
I know they had like a 1%, 2%, 3%. They had like, if you did an exclusive, when I launched Devil Flyer, you could get 2% if you did it for the first month. The one they had percent was like if you were an ambassador and would kind of like push Fund My Comic out there to people. And now he's made that available to everybody, and it looks like he's going to run that up into next year. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
Exactly.
You could still start on Fund My Comic and then maybe go to others if you wish. I know that some of these campaigns, like Mike Barron did, Leviathan on all three and launched them pretty much simultaneously.
Yeah.
But now what was encouraging to me, as I was saying earlier, Roland, is that Fund My Comic has beat out Indiegogo in some instances, and it's beat out Kickstarter in some instances, which is amazing to me.
I'll be honest with you. I have stopped backing Kickstarters with the advent of not crowdfunders. So I need to be very clear. I'm a crowdfunder guy. I buy my comics primarily two ways. I don't buy any Marvel or DC comics. I buy them at comic conventions from creators.
Back issue stuff.
Yep. If I
new
see you,
stuff from creators.
Or new stuff. Yeah. Like if I see you at the convention, I'm like, oh, look, here's a couple books I don't have. I'll buy them from you. Right. Mm-hmm. Or through Fund My Comic or Indiegogo. I'll do Indiegogo. But I've just stopped doing Kickstarter because apparently that's not my demographic anymore. So I don't even go and look.
Yeah,
I used to. I spent a lot of money on Kickstarter.
A lot of people don't like the way Kickstarter takes out the money later.
Yeah,
it could be a month later when it takes your pledge out. So I've heard a lot.
We got jerked around a couple times by the last couple times just before we left. We had a guy come in and I think we were about $500 shy of the goal. He came in and he pledged $1,000. Okay. And then he sent me a message. He said, what else are you going to do for me since I made your book happen? I said, hey, thank you for this, but what do you want? And he's like, well, I made your book happen. You should give me some stuff for free. And I said, well, you pledged for these things. You'll get all of those things because we have art, right? We always have art. And I said, you're going to get all of this art anyway. And he says, well, I need more. And I said, well, we don't have anything else. You bought it all up. And
so basically he removed his pledge.
And he did. He canceled his pledge then. And then what happened is we made it. And then we send out, hey, everybody, thanks for all the backers. We're at our fund. Now here's some stretch goals, right? Well, then he cancels his pledge, and then we're under goal again. It's like, okay, well, we haven't. Well, he did this 3 times during one campaign. And I reached, I would give Kickstarter their due here. I reached out to them and sent them screenshots and said, here's what's happened with this backer. Can you ban him from my campaign? Because I can't do that, right? And they did. They banned him from our campaign. so that he couldn't play that game with us anymore. But I've heard horror stories from people that from creators that say at the last minute, someone with a big pledge like that will back out, causing their Kickstarter to fail. And then, of course, they don't get any of that money if they've got it set up that way,
Kerry wanted me to show you this. Roland, I want book 1 and 2. I want 2 copies of each.
Okay.
According to Fun Comic, that would be $24. So I just need to know what you want for shipping, and he'll have to let you know on that, Kerry. I can, you can reach him on. I think you said you were on Instagram too, right, Roland?
Yes, I am on Instagram. Huh.
What are you under? Just your name, Roland Mann?
Yeah, I might be the Roland Mann. On Twitter, I am Man Roland. But I'm pretty easy to find. Just look for this. Well, I think I've got extortion. Just look for that caricature pretty much everywhere. I actually think I have a rejects thing on my for my icon now. But
now, what are some of the creators you've got? I mean, bigger names. Maybe you mentioned Paul. I love his work, and I'm kind of drawn to his work.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I was drawn. What are some of the creators that you've worked with, Roland?
Oh, I got to work with Steve Gerber back in the Malibu days.
Wow.
A lot of people know Steve from Howard the Duck. I got to work with, of course, George Perez. George Perez did a cover for me.
Wow.
Super nice guy. I got to work with James Hudnall, Steve Englehart. I got to work with Steve. He was one of my favorite writers as a kid.
Oh yeah, I love Steve. I think he was writing the Avengers when I first started in the mid '70s when I started collecting.
Yeah, great run of Avengers that he did.
With a young George Perez drawing it there at the end.
Yeah. And those were some of my first George Perez issues that I had seen. And that's kind of the Avengers. The Perez Avengers is really where I kind of fell in love with Perez. And
that was kind of their run that you could compare to the X-Men stuff that John Byrne and Terry Austin and what Dave Cockrum kind of set up.
I think so.
Yeah.
And if anybody read those, they'll see a lot of the Beast as written by Englehart and drawn by Perez in my character, the Demon. He's heavily influenced by the Beast of that era.
Maybe that's why I like him, because he's my favorite character, and it was Perez's Beast that made me a fan of the Beast.
It could very well be.
Yeah. The design's great. He's got 3 tails.
Yeah.
Three sort of nightcrawler tails or devil tails. Yeah.
Got
He's
to work
an
with Derek
interesting
Robinson.
looking character,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
you just work with the artist and say, I've got this concept, and you just try and describe what you want to them.
Yeah.
Do you
Except
sit
for
down
him,
in a call like this while they kind of sketch it out, or you just tell them and say, go away and come back, and then if you have any differences, you go, no, that needs to be changed, or that's not kind of what I envisioned. How do you do that with a creator?
I mean, I usually give them a little bit of the personality, because I believe personality kind of affects the look. But I will talk about the look, whether what kind of costume I see them in, a cape, a mask, what do I see them in, and then I try to kind of lead them in like a way, and then let them kind of do some design work, and we'll go from there. Like I said, Demon was the only one that was not. He's the one that I had kind of sketched out, because I had a pretty clear idea of what I wanted him to look like, but I didn't know how to describe it. I've tried to describe it to people before, and they never get it right. God love him, Jose, who's inking the Cat and Mouse now. He can't seem to get him right. He keeps wanting to put ears on him, and I'm like, dude, he has no ears. He does not have ears. He has these bony ridges, but there are no ears, and he just can't seem to get that right. He wants to give him little elf ears, and I'm like, stop that.
How did you find the current job you're in? Because that's kind of a dream job, isn't it?
Well, so it wasn't. This is not the job that I walked into down here. I had finished my. I had been teaching, and doing some newspaper work and that kind of thing. And I really wanted to. I was getting teaching jobs, teaching basic English, but I really wanted to teach creative writing, and no one would hire me to teach creative writing because I didn't have the right degree. So I went back to school, got an MFA, and as soon as I finished my MFA, I started looking around for places that would let me teach creative writing. Full Sail, I'd never heard of Full Sail before. Full Sail popped up. They had a class called portfolio review or something like that, where they had scripts that you were going to review. That's the job that I applied for. But after I interviewed, she said, well, we actually want to offer you a different class, and it's character design and building. And so I spent 3 years teaching in the master's program, character design, and basically how do you build a character, not drawing one, but how do you build a character, a fully fleshed out character. And so then when the bachelor's program came along, I saw it was announced that there was going to be a comic book class. And so I went to my supervisor and I said, that's my class. And she said, I already had you in mind for it. So I created the class, I built the class, and I've been except for, vacations and things like that, I've been the only one to teach it since the class came around 2014.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you hear someone say they've got a creative writing degree from Full Sail University since about in the bachelor's program, they had me, unless it was one of these weird times that I was on a vacation or when I had way too many students that I had to have help.
Yeah. Who fills in for you when you're not there?
Well, there are a couple of others who there's one. Well, he's not here anymore. There's one guy who teaches publishing and distribution who has published a couple of comics, a couple of graphic novels, and he can step in. And then there's a younger guy who is a graduate of our program who did some game writing work, and he will step in. So there's not very many people in the program who can teach. Who can teach my class. So
it's been interesting that just to see the. I've said that maybe it was just timing, but it seemed like comics were growing up with me. When the direct market came in, you had a little bit more adult things with Dark Knight and the Watchmen and other things like that. They always talk about those big books, but there was something brewing, like with Ninja Turtles. I mean, there was a black and white market like we'd never seen before.
Right.
We had Mike Gustovich on not too long ago, and he's going to be on with us in August 2nd on the Rex X and Apex show. And we'll have some more, but he's an early kind of like Bill Black and AC Comics or Paragon Press. Before that, Mike did like Cobalt Blue in the late 70s. He did like Justice Machine. He was into the early independent. And then later you kind of came along and people like Randy Zimmerman with Arrow Comics. So a lot of, and some of the professionals, like I've had Randy on, he said, George Perez said, oh, you're that guy from Arrow Comics. I love your stuff, and he's like, wow, George follows my stuff, it's, but the weird indie stuff, is what I kind of really like, because I see more inspiration, creativity, thought. If you buy Spider-Man, you kind of know what to expect.
Right.
Or Batman or any of those big main titles. It's kind of been squeezed, the creativity. It's not that you can't get a good story, but you kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
With new characters, new situations, I've been told like good characterization, but drive it to the point of where it becomes a personality for the reader.
Well, so here's part of the thing too about like a Spider-Man or a Batman, right? If you are going to go buy Spider-Man, you can read that and rest pretty assured Spider-Man's not going to die, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you read an independent comic, let's say you pick up the Rejects, you have no knowledge whatsoever that one of these guys might die because I can do it. Right. I don't have any corporate overlords that are telling me you can't kill these characters. No, I can kill any of them that I feel like I want to kill. Right.
Well, probably the longest had to be like Barry Allen. They killed off the Flash, but did they? Then Wally West, who was Kid Flash for decades, kind of took over Flash for years in that Mike Baron run and other runs. And so the character didn't quite die, but he was gone as Barry Allen, the original Flash. Yeah. So, but they eventually brought him back, kind of like the Phoenix came back. I mean, and that kind of makes sense because the Phoenix is supposed to come back, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But it took her several years really to come back. That's the great thing about fictional characters is you can kill them off, but you can bring them back. And I just say do it in an intelligent way. But when Jean Grey died, I cried, Roland.
Yeah.
That showed me the power of comic books could involve you to the extent, and that's the payoff. He built those storylines up in sub-stories to a crescendo and a climax where a leading character that you actually cared about. And I was crying, and I've talked to other readers that they read that issue too, where they killed the Phoenix off, and they cried as well. I mean, that doesn't happen in comics that often. That was one of the greatest runs in comics, I think.
And you have to ask yourself, what comic book is lined up to do that today? Yeah. I don't know that there are any. And part of it is because we don't have Spider-Man, Batman, they're all still around, but we don't really have anyone invested. We don't have readers invested like that. And one of the problems with independent comics, and then this is something I've heard from stores, is that because independent comics tend to do miniseries, just because it's so hard to do anything longer, it's hard for the stores to push them. Hey, there's this comic here, you need to buy it. Look, here's issue 16 of this issue. There's nothing out there for them to help get readers invested in from the independent side. So
well, you mentioned graphic novels. The miniseries was big. I mean, they were trying new things in the 80s. It was really a booming time. But like I said earlier, it didn't start off like that. Comics were in a slump. Jim Shooter was over there trying to just get out the titles on time. He said some of the titles were 6 months behind. So comics really has went through ups and downs, and Image just blew everything out, literally, Why do you think it crashed so hard? Was it because they had to wait, distributors, the uncertainty, they had to wait for some of those titles, they were late, or just loss of interest, or what?
I mean, I think some of it was kind of what we're seeing in crowdfunding right now. I think that there were promises made and they weren't kept. When Image came out, they did have a problem with late shipping, and the problem is people spend money in advance to get these things, just like they do in crowdfunding, right? And then that's money that they've spent, and they have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And when you promise that your book is going to come out in February, and it's March, April, May, June, you're like, well, look, that's $20 or however much. That's $20 I could have spent somewhere else, and then given you my $20 when your book is ready, And so I think people get, again, that's why I say it hurts the smaller guys like me, because we've got a 100% on time record with 30 books. But people look and they're like, oh, well, I backed this book over here by this famous creator, and I'm still waiting on it 6 months later. I don't think I'm not going to back this book by this guy right here, because I don't know who he is, even though that book looks, interesting. I don't know who he is, and so I'm not going to back it.
I don't know that I have a good answer for, those creators that don't fulfill, because you're right. It has a trickle down effect
It
to
does.
all crowdfunding, where it may even put people off from even wanting to assume the risk of a crowdfunder.
I agree. Yeah.
And yet
And
it's one of the vehicles, really probably the top vehicle right now for indie creators, isn't it?
it is. Yeah. And this is
Yeah.
why I have to give kudos to someone like a Mike Barron, because Barron, fulfills his campaigns and he fulfills them on time. And he is one of the bigger name creators. Aaron Lopresti, right? Aaron's a guy who will run a campaign, a big campaign, and he'll fulfill on time. I think that you're safe backing from them. But there's a lot of people that have names, of that caliber that
Right.
just don't do that. Like I said, I'm
For
not going to call
whatever.
out any negative ones, just try to
Right.
focus on the positive ones.
Right.
But yeah, when they don't, then because they bring, because of their name, it has a marquee value, right? They bring new people into crowdfunding, and then, oh, look, I'm going to go back this, by this popular artist. And then when the book never ships, they might be looking around at other crowdfunders, right? But they're like, oh, I backed this crowdfunder, but I never got it, so I'm not going to back any more crowdfunders. Even though this book looks interesting, I don't know who this is, right?
I think the feeling in the 80s, Roland, was that direct market was going to fix everything, although but it didn't. I mean, within about a 5-year period, the newsstand just started disappearing.
Well, and the thing about and the difference is, right, you walk into a comic shop, the comic book is there. You can pick it up and buy it. You don't, you hand them your money, you walk out with a comic, right? You don't have to wait. You don't have to
Instant
pre-order.
gratification.
It is instant gratification. That is the thing. It's right there, right then. You get it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that late shipping is certainly a problem. I think I don't know how much this affects crowdfunding, but I think we see a little trickle down with all the problems that Diamond's having right now. I think it's just the uncertainty in the industry. I think makes people decide, comics, I don't know, Diamond, I'm not sure I'll do this crowdfunder, right? I mean, even though we have nothing to do with the Diamond and the situation for our crowdfunders, I think it's kind of like a cloud hanging over,
Well, I don't know all this going on with Dynamite now, but that's kind of a shock to me, because they're putting out some good quality products. I think I saw Harley Quinn, Elvira crossover books that it's going to come out in October, but even that date was shifted. I think Jimmy Palmiotti was saying, because his wife Amanda draws that, or does the covers. And I said, wow, if there's anything big at Halloween, Elvira and Harley Quinn mix up, that one's probably going to be collectible.
Yeah.
There's just certain things that you go, that's going to be hot. That was a good idea,
Yeah.
I think the business side of it is not looked at enough by a lot of these people.
No.
In crowdfunding, and they get into it and they don't really count the cost of everything it's going to do to be able to put out a quality thing. I think with one advantage that we have, Roland, is that you can put out a better quality product than you can on a monthly basis, because you're kind of rushed. You got a deadline. Not that you don't with crowdfunding, but you can take a little bit more time and put a little bit more into it.
Yeah. Well, there are pros and cons to it, right? The one of the pros is that it makes it easier for independent creators to get access to backers in a market, right? The other thing is that it makes it easier for anyone to do a comic, and so I can't tell you the number of comics that I've backed a crowdfunder, and then I bring it home and I read it and I go, that was a piece of crap. It's like.
Terry's talking about a Western from Perfect Show for Silverline Comics is about Westerns, and dropped a link there on YouTube. That's a trend I see. I created a couple years ago my first Western character called Midnight, and but since then I've seen, I think they're doing a Jonah Hex omnibus. Of Jimmy Palmiotti stuff. He had a Kickstarter that was Western. Tom Tuttle did vampire sort of Western. that he has over on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so I see a trend with Westerns. And Westerns to me were never popular. They were kind of like war books. They were
Right.
kind of like sideline. I know
Yeah.
people read them obviously because they had a long run, but except in the 50s and 60s, maybe when Westerns were
Right.
popular on TV. But what do you attribute to that? Is it just that things cycle around and become
I think
popular and
so.
hot?
I think people look for something a little different, and things do tend to go in, in clumps. We see vampires, we see werewolves, we see westerns, we see steampunk.
Yeah.
So I think people tend to look for things that are a little bit different, and if you're right time, right place, then you can hit. The danger is, getting in too late. Oh, that one's over. You did a steampunk comic. Oh, that was cute. That's cute. But steampunk was last year. We're now on the westerns this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of it's timing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
I think with Ninja Turtles, it was such an oddball name. And I
Yeah.
think it kept selling out, selling out, selling out. If it had remained a comic, who knows how long it could have went. But now I've
Right.
got a documentary on that because they did become such a huge thing with movies, animated shows on Nickelodeon, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff, toys. But now really they added Eastman and Laird added a third person, and that was the business part of it, where a business manager, where he made the deals with Hasbro and
Right.
made a deal for 10 seasons or whatever. That's what it wound up to be on the cartoon. That's really when I think it really reached that larger audience that was not necessarily into comics.
Yeah.
But I do think it was lightning in a bottle, like they
Right.
say in the
I think so
documentary.
too. Yeah.
And that's hard to capture, lightning
It
in a
is.
bottle.
I mean, right time, right place, right idea, right people. I think Image was the same way when they came out. Right place, right time, right economy. Everything was
Yeah.
right about what happened for them.
Well, now I heard they had people buying pallets of some of their stuff, which is still pretty worthless today.
Yes.
You actually in the late 80s and the early 90s had some of the stock market people coming into comics, which had never happened before.
Yeah.
Comics as an investment. And now today you've got like Action Comics #1, Unrestored, 9.0. You can own part of this, but only like a tenth of a share or something.
Which is crazy.
Isn't that wild? You don't actually own the physical, you own a part of that. If it goes up, which it is, eventually some of those limited comics, that if the supply and demand is there, it's going to keep going up. We know that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not a bad investment.
Yeah.
It's a little weird to me.
It is weird to me as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Comics as a stock market, as a stock item, instead of like something physically owned. But now if you do that, you got to get it insured or keep it out of the sun. You got to take care of it. It's, do you have a large comic book collection?
I do. I have about 10,000 books.
And is your wife a reader? Does she enjoy reading?
She doesn't. She does not, for the most part. Okay. She got me into a couple of them, but she doesn't read those anymore. Like I read Gru I read Gru because of her. I read Teen Titans because of her. But she not really a comic reader.
Sergio Aragonés,
yes,
going way back with Mad Magazine.
Yes, right.
He's got the fastest signature. I hit him up for an autograph. I think it was in 85. It's either 85, 86. I think it was 85 at Chicago Con. And I said, he had that back to me in 2 seconds with a remarked head of Gru.
Oh my gosh,
wow, man, this guy's quick.
Yeah. Yeah. And a super nice guy as well.
Super nice guy, and a handsome beard and mustache.
That's right, yeah.
Well, Roland, thanks for coming on, man. Go back to Rejects.
Yes, please do.
And check out his back issues on the back issues. I think that's a great thing.
Yep.
I think you're ahead of the curve on that, Roland. I know it's, I think that's something great that From My Comic offers,
Yeah.
Now, do you have another cover besides the full cover, like a more regular cover, or is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it?
No. There are two options. I don't know if you still have the link there. There are
I
two.
do.
You don't have to get the foil cover. You can get there are two other covers that you can you pick from. We have the
Okay.
foil cover, and then there's cover B and cover C. So I'm trying to
Just
remember
trying to
one
get
of the
the video off here. Let's see.
yeah.
Here we go.
There
we go.
Yeah.
Covers
So
right there. Okay.
Yep. So cover B then is by the artist Haley Martin. Haley is the colorist of the project, and she did that entire cover. And then cover C, which we have to update the colors because it is colored now, is done by Angelo Conception, and then colored by Ken Mills. Angelo was the artist for the latest Cat and Mouse that we crowdfunded. So. Yeah, so you don't have to get the shiny. You can get a regular edition.
Absolutely, yeah, cool. That's neat.
So please go back it. We're like I said, we're not quite to the goal yet. We've got about a week left to go. So I feel good that we'll make the goal, but we're not there yet.
I hate to ask you another question because you've been very nice with your time, but. When something like that happens over on Kickstarter, when you have somebody pledge like that, maybe multiple times, and maybe they're a little slow to react. Of course, you can't blame, the platform too much on that. But now, what happens? Do you just go unfunded? Because it's all in, right? You got to get funded over on Kickstarter, don't you?
Correct. Yeah. On Kickstarter,
the money is turned back over to the backers.
Right. Kickstarter, if you're asking for $1,000 and you get $999, you fail in your campaign and you don't make any of that money. It's an all or nothing campaign there.
So did you actually fund on that, or was it a wasted effort because of this numb nut?
I want to say we failed one campaign over there. And I can't remember which one it was, but we failed on one campaign. All the others were successful.
So you just go to another platform with that and fund it somewhere else then?
Well, we retooled. I think this was a campaign that we were doing 5 different books. Part of what happened is we saw Alterna doing it. We're like, look, Alterna did this thing. They had a bunch of books, right? So we said, oh, look, here's 5 different books. Thank you, Carrie. I will do that as soon as actually I've been told that dinner is ready. After dinner, I will come back here and make that happen. So Carrie, if you do want to drop me a line, I will zap you a note as soon as I make that happen.
All right.
Yeah. But so we had like 5 different books on the campaign, and we decided let's don't do that. Let's retool and fix the campaign a little bit. So we relaunched. I think we just had 2 of them with the next one. Because we did flip books for a while.
Did you go back to Kickstarter with that one after that happened to you?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
But I think that was towards the very end, and I think that was when we decided, hey, let's look at this Fund My Comic.
Yeah.
Because we were already kind of peaking at, and I know Luke, I know the guy who started the platform, so. So yeah.
I mean, if you have any problems over there, he's pretty good to get back with.
Absolutely. He's you can direct contact him, and who you're talking to.
Roland, thank you, and don't forget to do your newsletter tonight and get that out.
I won't.
Yeah.
Yep.
And thank your wife for us for your most valuable time. You've been very generous today.
Absolutely. Thank you
and
so much.
Don't be a stranger, my friend. It's good to see you.
It's good to be seen. It's good to be seen. So I appreciate you inviting me on and let me talk about my stuff. I as you can see, and I love talking comic books. I love talking about this stuff. I love comics.
And let me know when you go up to pick it. I might meet you up there.
I'm actually planning to go up there this coming week. So
okay, all right.
Yep. I think I'm leaving going to Nashville to see I probably shouldn't say this pub broadcast, right? Going to Nashville. Yeah. My daughter is going to be singing at the Greenway Picnic. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, wow. And that's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So,
well, and we do wish your son and our new bride of like 7 years courting.
Right. Yep.
All the best, hope they have a great honeymoon. And now are they going to live around you? I mean, are they going to be within arm's reach, or you got to travel to go see?
Nope. They will be about an hour-ish from us.
Oh, okay. That's good.
They live closer to Tampa, so we'll have to go south to get to them, but they're about an hour and 15 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
So
I've been to Gainesville. I've been to Pensacola. And then I went and worked around Gainesville area. I like that area.
I'm an hour south, about 45 minutes to an hour south of Gainesville.
Okay. Yeah. I went about an hour south from there. So I probably maybe sprayed your house. Who knows?
You probably did.
That was after that hurricane came through. It hit Texas.
Yeah. You
Florida,
probably did. Yeah.
And they were doing the aerial spraying, but then the beekeepers didn't like that. And they brought us volunteers, the trucks in, and we went down there and worked kind of as Gainesville as the headquarters, but we would drive. Right. We were driving south about an hour.
I live in Ocala. Do you know where Ocala is? You remember that?
I've heard of it. I may have sprayed through there.
I live in Ocala. So
yeah, good area, huh? A lot
we like it a lot.
Yeah, pretty big pop. You got you got one of the biggest prisons down there. I sprayed one of the prisons. Wow. It is huge, like 10 different buildings to house those inmates. You've got a large prison system down there. I think you've got one of the largest, actually.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Florida's got cowboys. Yeah. They've got ranchers. They've got Florida is a mixed bag.
Yeah.
When it comes
they call Ocala, we didn't know that before we moved here, but they call Ocala horse country. There are horses all over the place, and training. The little laps where they train the horses to run and all that. They're all over the place down here.
Well, I hope to come visit again because every time I went down Florida, it's been very nice.
Yeah, it is nice down here.
Carrie did message you over on Instagram. Enjoy your lunch, and dinner, supper, dinner. We call it both things here,
right?
Eat those vittles. And keep collecting. Bow for now.